Yeah, I know.
Not the sweet taste of victory, is it?
Yes. A pint of victory.
Yeah.
Large cup of victory.
That's it. Go
How are you, Harrison?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
That's what I was going to do. I was going to find out exactly how long it was since you've been here. I know it's 2 years, but I don't quite exactly know. I'll have to consult my podcast app to find out exactly when it went out.
It must be just over now, surely.
Yeah, because we went and cooked. You cooked for us outside, didn't you?
Yeah.
So let's have a look.
I mean, that's not saying a lot. I mean, it could have been any time of the year with that sort of thing, really. But it was definitely
warm,
daytime.
though, and it was warm. I remember that.
Is that the food or the weather?
Both. Yeah, it was lukewarm what you cooked us. No, it's nice. It was a chicken fajitas.
Fajitas.
Yes.
Fajitas.
Chicken fajitas.
It was very nice.
Yeah, they were good.
I was just marveling at, like, there's a guy here cooking outside on the floor, and then I ate it and I was like,
Cooking better than I can do in a fully equipped kitchen. And you're doing it just on your hands and knees.
Yeah,
It was
minimal equipment.
Yeah, not a lot's changed since then, really.
12th of July, 2021.
July.
So
Amazing.
August, September, October. Yes. There you go. You were number 75. Now you're 84.
Not bad. Not bad.
Oh, so this is.
I presume that was me again this time. Yes.
Remember what you were last time?
I can't. I can remember the picture. I can picture the picture. I can see us there. I can see what I was wearing. Black Adidas top, but
You were Warrior Hands.
that's right.
Last time.
Yeah.
Now you are Dr. Ian Harrows. There you
I
go.
prefer Warrior Hands. But,
I couldn't use it again. There was got to be something different.
maybe it's like wrestling. I've got an alter ego I'm walking out to now. Maybe.
The thing is, though, now it's a hashtag, so that's specific to this episode.
Oh, I see.
So anytime I do any social media, it'll have that hashtag.
Well, hopefully, Dr. Ian Harrows doesn't have a poor Google history. That's
I guess we'll find out, won't we? You might be the first, Dr.
Yeah.
Ian Harrows.
He sounds like more of a heel than Warrior Hands did, I think.
Yeah, two completely different. That's funny. So yeah, 2 years. You've done quite a lot since then.
There's been a few things on, I think, since then. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's. I'm trying to think what was going on then. Life was very different, I suppose, in July 2021. I mean,
I think you still had a job.
I did have a job. That's right. Yeah, I'm unemployed
When did you
now.
quit your job? When did you quit your job?
So that was January 2022.
There we
I quit
go.
the
And what
job.
was your job?
So I used to work for Grassmere Gingerbread. I was basically a peddler of baked goods. So I dispensed it over the world as the e-commerce manager. So it was, there for 5-6 years.
Foodie was your side hustle.
It was my side hustle. It's become my full hustle as of now. So gingerbread is very much in the past, but still.
What was it like quitting your job then?
Quite a leap of faith. Yeah, quite a leap of faith. I think it was something that, again, I think when we spoke last time after COVID, it was obviously the world had all changed. My day job then went bananas because it seemed like everybody needed toilet paper and gingerbread, funnily enough. But coming out the other side, of course, I mean, the whole outdoor industry really took off as well because there were so many more eyes on getting outdoors again. Everyone was really keen to mingle again. The festivals were coming on.
A lot of people couldn't go abroad,
yeah,
so they were exploring their own country more.
And that too. And the Lake District was heaving, wasn't it, as well? So I think all sorts of stuff was going on. The brands were performing a lot better. So there was just more opportunities, I guess. And again, I was just sort of really quite new to that before lockdown. Got a few little jobs speaking here and there, a couple of festivals. But after the end of it, it was basically every other weekend I was away, coming back Sunday night, getting ready for work again Monday morning. So it got to the point where I couldn't really do both at the same time because it was swallowing all my personal time up. And I thought, well, it was going very well, the day job. I liked where I was. I liked the people I was with. I had a lot of progression. But then likewise, when you get the chance to maybe back yourself and see what could be.
Follow a passion and actual...
Well, absolutely.
The kind of thing where you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this as a job.
It was certainly less linear, but of course, there's a bit of risk in there as well. I think you've got to see where's this going to lead to. You know,
so it must have been nerve-wracking.
Keep pulling that string.
For the first few weeks, at least, after you had no job and you were just doing Foodie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, financially, I think it's always it's always kept me quite present in jobs. I've liked that security of having the pay packet coming all the time. Yeah, suddenly going to the freelance world. It's a very different way. Absolutely. Yeah. And I suppose traditionally, trying to explain what you actually do, it's kind of, what is it? I'm kind of a bit of this, bit of that, bit of outdoor cooking, a bit of media, a bit of writing, journalism. It's all sorts of bits, really.
So has your public speaking sort of evolved since then?
It has, yeah.
Are you talking about different things?
It sounds like I've been talking quite a lot, doesn't it, on this bit? It sounds a bit hoarse today. Voice sounding slightly different. But yeah, quite a bit. So I suppose that's probably the main part of the job these days is the speaking. So going into schools, going to universities, a lot of the festivals, expos, and a lot of corporate speaking, event hosting sort of thing. So that's kind of the main
That's
element.
what's kind of picked up as time's gone on.
Yeah, for sure. So again, lots more appearances, cooking demonstrations, there might be some sort of hosting, interview sections, panels, all sorts of bits there, as well as maybe, again, some publications in media, so writing some articles for sort of national broadsheets or even magazines, as well as then more the social media, more traditional sort of influencer work, dare I say it. I mean, I wouldn't like to do myself that, but I suppose that's the sector you end up in.
Of course, what helped was last time you couldn't talk about the fact that you just recorded a thing with Mary Berry.
Yes, I was probably still under embargo then, wasn't I? I think I nearly just filmed it. I think it was about probably.
So quitting your job and then having that come out it's not bad.
It went quite well, I think. Yeah, I mean, that came out in December, so I'd filmed it in the May. Obviously, with myself in July, and then it came out early first or second week of December.
Yeah, I remember it was
and it was kind of something. Yeah, it was tough to hold on to, and of course, I wasn't really allowed to say anything. I hadn't told anyone. I don't think, even family or all sorts. And again, just having that opportunity.
You sat around with should we watch this? And they're like, that's you.
That's you. Yeah, of course. I mean, that was a bizarre thing. I mean, looking back now, I mean, that's over 2 years since we filmed that now, bizarrely.
Yeah.
But at the time, of course, I'd never done anything like that before. I mean, I'd done some local TV. I'd done a bit of camera work on other elements.
So for anyone who didn't see it, then what was the scenario? What was it? What were you doing with her?
Yeah, so I took Mary Berry onto the hillside and cooked 2 dishes for her on the mountainside. So I did what I do, which is obviously plenty of outdoor cooking.
Bit of pressure
elevated
there.
up, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when I got the call, I wondered sort of thinking, at first you think, how have you got this number? And secondly, you're thinking...
This is a wind-up.
Oh, yeah. You're there saying, I'm not going to make her a cake. Absolutely no chance in hell I'm making her a cake.
No soggy bottoms here.
Well, that was to come, I guess. I mean, stupidly, I had a little go at a cake, and it went quite well. And I put it on my personal Instagram page, and the producer saw it, and there we were on the day trying to make the institution that is Dame Mary Berry a cake on a hillside.
What kind of cake did you make?
So I made her a lemon and blueberry drizzle cake.
Nice.
On my camping stove, using sort of a little convection oven piece of equipment. It's a bit like a bunt tin with a hole in the middle, so the heat hits the top of the lid and creates a convection type effect. And everyone was very doubtful on the day, including Mary, including myself, really. And,
this is never going to work.
Well, it was the second time I'd ever made one, and there I am, just my first ever time on national television, telling my full story out there, which again in itself was quite bizarre, because of course that was something I wouldn't have shared, in the mirror at one point.
Yeah.
And I just made like a pan-seared sea bass dish for her beforehand, like a lemon vinaigrette and pancetta broad beans, and here I am making this cake. And all the crew are saying, that's not going to work. It's going to turn out like slop.
Who is this guy? Who booked this guy?
Oh, yeah. They're going, you're not going to work again. I'm going, well, you might not work again. And Mary's there, didn't make it onto the final cut in the end, but she's stirring the mix. And she hands this bowl back to me, and I had to say, it needs a bit more liquid in there, Mary. Oh, man. So there I am, obviously sweating, putting the silicone mould off, and there it is standing tall. And as you said before, she said, no sign of a soggy bottom. So a proud moment for sure. But... yes, that was Love to Cook, it was called, one of her shows on the BBC, the episode 4. I don't think it's on the iPlayer anymore. It'll
be on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, it's on there. But again, bizarre to have that opportunity. And as you say, that was coming close to leaving my job as well. And I recently, again, I was lucky to sign a major sort of sponsorship deal as well with the car company Volvo at the time as well. So all this seems to start coming in at this point of me leaving the job as well. I'm starting to go, what's going on, really?
Well, you needed it, though. That's what you needed.
It was a push, I guess.
Bit of
real
reassurance,
push.
Bit of confidence that you've made the right decision.
Yeah. But again, I wanted to see Christmas through, I guess, 'cause that was such a busy time in my day job as well. So I wasn't ever going to leave before that time and sort of leave in the lurch, because that was kind of...
Yeah, like you said, you didn't mind the job. It was you quite enjoyed it, so you weren't going to leave.
Yeah, I worked a 4-month notice there and sort of before I left, so it was all very amicable, as I wanted it to be. Because again, it's a small community place around here, and it really helped me out of those previous darker days in that job and allowed me to find my feet again, both professionally and personally, really. So, a lot of respect and a lot of... amicable nature back to that side of things. But coming into the other job, I suppose, it was very much just jumping off one treadmill onto the other, because now all of a sudden you're trying to set up your own business.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have had a plan.
Well, ish. I guess I had some things in the diary that had come in, but it's all been very organic. I'd never aimed for this to become anything other than just a hobby. It was just always me sharing my story.
It was almost like therapy in the beginning, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The love of the fells and dishes I enjoyed cooking. And again, meeting people through that action. And it just sort of led on to these other opportunities that, again, I felt like I had to take. And jumping out sort of that frying pan into the fire, it really was, I guess, the first few months.
When no paycheck, you're like, ooh.
Well, yeah, I suppose working in arrears, again, I suppose different cash flow, because you're on sort of business terms, like 30, 45-day terms, even though you really are just one person, but you get treated like you're a big corporation.
Yeah.
Which can be interesting when it comes to rent day. But yeah, it was just sort of taking it as it comes and kind of just trying to really work out what it is I was doing. And I suppose you maybe should have had a bit more of a plan going into this, but I was just thrust into that moment.
I think you had enough momentum, though, that you kind of thought, it's going to be all right. I'll figure this out.
It did feel that way.
Because if it didn't, you wouldn't have quit your job in the first place.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it was kind of stuff that I was doing okay, I guess, with a little bit of side income on top of the job, and then all of a sudden you cut that loose and think, well, can I replace that?
Was there a bit of a spring from the Mary Berry thing? Did much happen after that?
On some bit, I think certainly in terms of Not directly, I suppose. You maybe think of following sort of thing would be the sort of thing.
I just meant in general.
That particular thing, not particularly. But I suppose just in terms of maybe it was something I could always say I'd done, and of course there was
on your
certainly
CV, isn't it?
Well, I guess so, absolutely, and it given me obviously a bit of a spring in my step too for having that first chance to go on a national platform like that. And of course, I think from the outside, perhaps some peers and things, it was just a nice moment.
Yeah.
She was
I
lovely.
bet you were getting lots of messages. People were going, "I just saw you on TV. You kept that one quiet."
Yeah, well, I'd sort of announced it. I was allowed to announce it about 2 weeks before, I think. So again, I announced it there at the time what was going on, and but of course, I suppose I'd filmed that 6 months ago by the time it came around as well. So it was kind of you were just waiting.
You're like, "What did I do? I have to watch it."
Well, in a way, I hadn't seen it either, so I didn't know how it was going to come across.
You hadn't seen the final edit or anything.
So it was all kind of a bit up in the
air. I was
there,
but what did I do?
I know you're thinking, am I going to come across okay? Have I said the right things?
How have they edited this?
How are they going to cut it? Absolutely, but. No, it was all grand. And I think that's just led on to sometimes having almost a bit like business, I suppose. Those different stages of exposure. Yeah. Sometimes people may not know who you are, and I don't expect people to. But sometimes they might go, "Hang on a minute, are you that chap I saw on that show?" And
yeah, a bit of
that still happens from time to time. So that's quite
nice. Have a knock-on effect for your public speaking as well.
All sorts of bits. Yeah, I think it's just something else you can have on there, different sort of repertoire, and again maybe stands you out slightly differently from just someone that's just posting on Instagram as well. I suppose you're more in that sort of world and doing different bits. But
so you're getting more people booking you for, or both the food and the mental health, the speaking, or was it you were getting one or the other? Where you sometimes you're getting both?
A bit of both, I suppose. The stories always come into it in terms of the schools and the universities. The corporate speaking is more about where I've come from, the battles of depression, the battles of sort of suicidal ideation, the subsequent alcoholism is definitely that sort of. I guess maybe most rags to riches type sort of story, isn't it? I guess. So
if anybody's listening who hasn't listened to the last time you were here, pause now, go and listen to episode 74. And then resume this podcast, then you'll know all about their story.
That's it.
You've done a lot of podcasts since you were last here. A lot.
There's been quite a few, hasn't there? Yeah. Well, I just tend to say yes. I think. I mean, I quite like anyone who reaches out.
You are a yes man. Yeah.
I am a yes man.
But that could affect your work-life balance at some point. Your time management, saying yes
Possibly
to everything.
So. I've never been very good at time management as it is. I don't think so. That's not too bad. But
is it still just you on your own? You don't have any help?
Just me so far. Yeah.
Booking your diary or your schedules?
No, nothing. So. Just me still at the minute. I mean, I think I'm very much at that point where I'd maybe appreciate that help, but likewise, I perhaps haven't got the finances.
Like an agent who says, "No, don't do that."
I just couldn't afford to pay someone.
Or get your ass in the gear. Get this done.
No, again, it's just working out. It's a very unusual space to be in because I guess it's always you're almost peering back sort of the curtain slightly and looking into this other world and trying to work out how it works all the time. And there's no one that's really going to guide you into that process. There's no one who's going to give you a price list of things. It's always working out.
Yeah, like how much do you charge for things? How much do you?
All sorts. And again, the social media digital side as well. That's a very new industry and stuff. So it's always changing. So it's a bit bonkers. And I suppose it's one of those that you try to explain to other people maybe what you do and stuff. And I'm still working out myself, but trying to explain it to in layman's terms is quite a difficult thing to do because it didn't exist really. I suppose.
Because I was talking to Red Shepherdess today, and it's like she's another one where like. Every day, everything she does, she documents on social media. It's like, so these people basically follow her life. Every day there's like, obviously there's the farm and then she had the child and there was the pumpkin patch that we went to today and it was just one of those people that's the social media side is her life. It's a window into her life. She just records everything that she does. In a way, it's a bit like you're always doing stuff, so you're always documenting, aren't you? So that's a learning curve for you.
I suppose it just sort of becomes, you almost become a bit of a billboard of yourself, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
you sort of,
you have to, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose that's where brands maybe come on board and want to support that, want to get a bit of, I suppose,
so
marketing
was there any sort
space.
of confidence issue with that, with sort of being the focus, like you have to take control of your own sort of your brand and your identity then once you've got no actual proper job anymore and it's just you?
Yeah, I mean, the imposter syndrome certainly comes in at times, I think, especially when you're doing some of the talks and on some of these stages with some fantastic individuals that you've seen on the telly or you've done these amazing feats of physical endurance and stuff, and you go, well, what am I? I'm just some guy who.
But your story holds up against anybody's. Your story of what you've done holds up against anybody's.
Oh, bless you, man. That's very kind.
It's relatable. A lot of people have been through similar things, and I'm sure you sharing your story on here and all the other places that you've done it has affected some people. Maybe turn them around, stop them going where you were going.
Possibly. I mean, that's always, I think, the sort of the catalyst for it, I think, is always that impact. I think that's the reason I still sort of share it. I think he's always trying to keep that as maybe the foundations of where you've started and try not to lose sight of that, really. But likewise, I maybe have had some people that have reached out in the past and said, you know, read your story, and these days I've got sober myself, I've done this sort of thing, I want to thank you. And I'm always going, well, it's not me, I've not done that.
But you've just told your story.
That all I've done is be someone who's maybe added to that fire, like I did when I was watching YouTube clips of people who've gone through similar.
Yeah.
You've just provided maybe a
just
relatable story, I guess.
Yeah, but that's that's kind of the world you're in now. It's kind of like
I guess so. Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, it's something I very much enjoy. I do like sort of the attending the events. I love meeting other people. I love the chance to talk to people.
yeah, because you go to a lot. You've been to some pretty cool events recently.
There's been a fair few. I mean, a lot of time on the
I
road.
look at some of the other talkers. I'm like, wow, like Deborah Meaden and
Yeah, I mean, I did Carfest not too long ago, and that was I think
yeah, you go from the sublime to the ridiculous. You go like the caravan show to like what was the other one? The Blue Earth Summit one. That was
Blue Earth. That's one I've been. That was just the other week. Yeah,
that was a big one.
And in Carfest, I was following Tim Peake, the spaceman on the stage. And it was bonkers.
That's kind of like your audience, campers. People go caravans. That's a kind of a side thing that they probably would have thought to do. Like go walking, but like let's cook a meal while we're up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Tim Peake fit in that. The spaceman fit in.
No, it's a bit random that,
but it's no, for sure. But it's the same sort of thing, I guess. I'm cooking outdoors. I'm trying to inspire people to eat differently when they're out and about.
Yeah.
Whether it's cooking in that location or it's taking something.
Or it's showing the minimal setup that you have, the results you can achieve.
But when you're going camping on the campsite in a motorhome, a caravan, van life, it's all the same sort of principle, really.
Yeah.
You might be cooking indoors, but you're still trying to cook with less stuff in a smaller space.
Yeah.
You've usually only got one hob, so it's that sort of same style of cooking that I've tried to, I suppose, build a repertoire of ingredients around that sort of stuff. But it's just a bonkers life to be in at the moment, really. I mean, it's something that I think I'm still growing in the space. I think I'd always like to try and maintain that, but trying to work out where is it heading, but just taking the opportunities as they come, really, just allowing those doors to open, and just trying to make the best of the situations I do, and who I meet, who I talk to.
Yeah, you must have made some cool connections in this last couple of years as well, of all the events you've been to.
Well, yeah, but I've got some great connections, from my early days as well. I mean, friends that have helped me from the day one from this step, that have been there, through school and all sorts, and still close mates now. So again, cool. It's just great.
Do you go up fells without cooking it at all?
I do still plenty, but mainly by myself, because if I go with somebody else, they always expect a meal, I think, on the
I was going to say, like, if we're going up, what have you got in your backpack? You've got a little stove, haven't you? You brought a stove.
It's a rod for my own back, really, I think, that sort of thing. But that's the one thing you say, that I think coming out of that world into this new path now, that's probably the one thing I've struggled with, I guess, has been sort of my personal, maybe sort of health and the work-life balance, as you say, because I think during lockdown, I think we spoke about this on the last podcast, it was quite a lot spending time in the own four walls again, by yourself, maybe in your own head a bit more, losing those vices, those positive vices that I'd built in terms of the gym and heading into the fell tops, to then have such a busy time, going into this fantastic opportunity in my personal life and business life now, going freelance, but also then not still having the same fitness foundations that I had before.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden living on the road quite a bit longer. So it's been great having those opportunities, and very much something that I've loved doing. But likewise, I think my fitness has definitely suffered a bit. I've not been maybe perhaps getting the exercise that I did before.
Yeah.
And those initial basics are perhaps where I built this from, and the healing process that it was.
It's altered, it's changed, isn't it?
Yeah, because I suppose it's become...
It's just where the work takes you, isn't it? You just...
Well, I suppose, and likewise, you are, if I don't go out and do that sort of thing, if I then go about, I'm just going to go walking for 7 days, then all of a sudden the bill drops through the door.
Well, you maybe should do that every once in a while, though.
True.
Have you had many holidays this last couple of years?
Well, I've just been away recently, actually. I've just been to Spain for a couple of weeks, which...
you probably needed that.
It's rare I go away, to be fair, that sort of stuff. And really, I love going abroad.
Good timing, though. Was it a couple of weeks?
It was.
A couple of weeks, just before. Now you're on the trail of this magnificent book that's just come out.
Bless you, sir.
I'll hold it up to the camera so I can see it. Yeah, Cookout. So you're now an official published author.
Yeah. So again, from in that day job to sort of a bit of TV to trying to make a bit of living as a speaker to then getting the chance to write my own book. I mean, it's literally been a story that I'd never foreseen. From all these moments that I've gone through, the moments I spoke of last time, the personal achievements of the mountains I climbed, the life I left behind, to having the chance to really bring a childhood dream to fruition is one that I don't think I've really come to terms with myself yet, to be honest.
I'm holding it in my hands. It's like, it's hefty. It's 80 plus meals. I mean, you used to have to go 80 meals. I'm going to have to learn to cook some more meals.
Well, I think
Did you know 80 meals before this?
I think all the ones I know are in there, I think, for the outdoor side of things. But it was, again, they were all cooked on location as well. So it was every time heading out. There wasn't any sort of studio shots like I imagine most books are. You book a studio for 3 weeks and you just get cooking. It was heading out each time, carrying the gear out. The weather didn't always play ball, so we have to abandon a few shoots and come back. So an elongated process, but seeing the thing all come together now and how it's in its fullest form,
I mean, you obviously share when people have said, "Oh, I've got his book," and they're cooking meals.
Great.
It's just endless.
It's been great so far, and it's only literally. I mean,
have a hold of that, Liam.
I'm not sure when you release this sort of thing, it's quite quickly, but it's literally been just less than a week and a half since it was out.
This is coming out on Monday, so
yeah,
next Monday. So.
These books are the only books that I own. Cookbooks.
That he never cooks out of.
But no, usually what happens is I find one recipe and one that I really like, and then that's it. I bookmark that, and I only use the book for that one recipe.
I think I'm similar. I always buy them, and they just sit there on the bookshelf. They look nice, but you sometimes only pick them up once or twice, don't you? But I just, it's like an addiction, isn't it? I guess buying more and more.
But that you've got an audience for that, because that is all the people who go camping, and like they say, the caravan people who will. You've inspired them to sort of go, well, what can we cook with what we normally bring with us? They probably don't think to cook that much, always eat out or bring basic stuff, but. As you proved last time you were here, it's like you can knock something up pretty good with very little equipment, as long as you get the right equipment.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to talk all about food, how it should go about, the equipment you need to use, perhaps what we should be doing in the outdoors too. Very conscious about how we leave the environment as well, heading out there. Because I suppose the criticism I mainly do face sometimes from people that don't read fully into what I do is perhaps thinking I'm going out there and leaving, open fires in the national park, or leaving scorch marks, or leaving,
Do not see the camp stove.
Well, absolutely, or leaving sort of organic matter out there, washing in the waterways. But I bring it all back down again, leaving that environment exactly how it's found.
You're Cumbrian. We don't do that.
Absolutely. But I think it's all those educational tools that come in. I mean, I've done some great work with schools lately as well, talking about that sort of stuff as well. Kids that have never been to these areas before in their life. Yeah. And sometimes when you come out of that world and appreciate the privilege of what you've had growing up in an area like this, you don't really realise how special it can be.
First came across you, whenever it was before all this. Yeah. I'd never even thought of cooking a meal on top of it. I was like, oh, yeah.
I don't think many do, to be fair. I think it's for good reason.
You take stuff like energy drinks and snacks and maybe a sandwich, but like to actually cook a meal, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. So I'm assuming that's what lots of other people have. Because I've seen videos of you've put clips of other people imitating what you do.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
No, it's wonderful, and it's always a great feeling to get those sort of tags and those responses, I guess, of, as you say, perhaps maybe inspiring people. I never really use those words because I think it's not my place to.
I do.
I'm just trying to maybe just see food in a slightly different way, and I think, again, I never intended on that to become anything. It was just a niche that I found myself because I enjoyed those two aspects. It wasn't me going, oh, no one else is doing this. It wasn't as calculated as that, but it's just led on to this path, and I suppose...
So how did this come about? What was the...
Well... Basically, I got an offer from the publishers, Vertebrate Publishing, in October. So that was basically, I had a lady who was helping me try and get a book deal at one point, who was working slightly on the side.
Pretty much a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago sort of now.
And you signed it now as well, so it's worth loads.
I found my meal as well.
What's your meal?
He's got one.
Chicken biryani.
Oh, it's nice.
I did beef goulash.
You said you did the goulash, yeah.
Which is nice. My daughter approved.
Fantastic stuff.
I'm quite fussy as well. So when I go through these books, I'll find like a meal. Oh, that looks nice. Or it's got an ingredient I don't like. Nah, forget it.
Just the one. You can always swap it out.
One or two, maybe.
Swap it out and make it your own.
That's true, yeah.
That requires
independent
thought. No thanks.
He's a follow instructions kind of guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
To the letter.
Yeah.
Serves two. Now, these are brilliant. These are brilliant.
Yeah, and hopefully I've tried to sort of say on there what sort of equipment you need as well, because, of course, if you are going into the outdoors, it's not just the ingredients you need now. When you're at home in the kitchen, you've got everything to hand. So you need to know what you're carrying out there as well. Perhaps a slightly different way of cooking using that one single heat source as well. So it's all been thought about on that frontage. It's not particularly lightweight, but I'm not trying to convince people to go and cook like this, doing John O'Groats to Land's End, for example. But this is something else if you're going for, a surf by the beach, a little dog walk, or you're going out just for a little walk for the day, or even on a campsite on a holiday. These little dishes you can get involved in with the family, or knocking up for a group of you to come back to after a nice walk. So just seeing food and nature and adventure in a different way, really. But about a year ago it came together, so it was...
So did they come to you with the full idea, or did they say, would you like to do a book? And you went... What would I do a book about?
Well, basically, I met a lady called Lisa Edwards, who at the time was the partner of a chap that was doing an article with me for Country Farm magazine, and we'd gone walking. They were doing the Cumbria Way at the time, and she used to work a lot in publishing. Now she'd worked in the past quite big publishing heads, and sort of saw my thing. And she was also in sobriety herself, so she'd heard a bit about my story, listened to a podcast. Perhaps it was this one.
Hopefully it was this one, yeah.
It'd been about the same time, so it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, you were here last time. We went pretty in depth.
Yeah, of course. One of my earlier ones then as well, but I hadn't done too many at the time.
No.
I mean, as you
Plus
say,
we do the clips, we do the segments, so we put the segment of all the important bits of it out.
Absolutely.
So maybe it was. Not that it matters.
It could have
But anyway, she heard your story.
Yeah, and she sort of saw the full picture, and she saw, that's had the logo and stuff, bits on there, and she's going, have you got a book deal? I said, no, I've not got a book deal. I said, maybe one day, who knows? Again, very much just flying by the seat of my pants in life that I'm still kind of doing now. You may have gathered that.
Stop telling people you do that. You're supposed to be professional.
too honest, I think. But it's and then about maybe 2 or 3 weeks later after the walk, she sent me an email and said, look, I'm thinking about becoming an agent. Do you want to be my first signing? So I said, well, yeah.
So she's an agent just like for books?
Yeah. So
cool.
she worked previously as a publishing editor, and now she's going into publishing sort of agent work and a bit of freelance editorial stuff. And again, at the time, I suppose, she knows a lot more about the industry than I do, so it's better having those people in your corner. So, so I signed with her, and then at the time, she was trying to broker a deal, I suppose, trying to approach. We'd done a bit of a brief, so I'd done a brief together about an outdoor cookbook.
So it's pretty straightforward. This is pretty much what you had initially thought of.
Yeah, exactly. So it was recipes in the outdoors to cook on there whilst you're going camping and various bits, and we approached a few different publishers, and then Vertebrae basically came back and said, well, it's funny you should message us because we were just talking about you in the office today. Because they're well known for their outdoor sort of books and guidebooks and that sort of way, but hadn't done anything foodie related before. Cause of course
well,
it's
see, as far as they're concerned, this is something a bit different.
Yeah.
So
but it ties both of those in, I suppose. It's a different sort of market, but with the outdoors, and hopefully has a bit of a niche of its own.
Yeah.
And that set the ball rolling. So we signed the deal in October. Then we were out straight away in winter. My housemate and good friend Kenny Block was the photographer.
Kenny D. Block.
Kenny D. Block, that's it. That's what the D
follow him.
stands
He's
for.
Brilliant photographer, isn't he?
Well, that's it. And he's a local lad as well. He's only Whitehaven way, not far from here. And again, a fantastic story
so
as
all
well.
the photos in here of his?
They're all his, all
Awesome.
Kenny's, apart from one at the back, which is Daniel Toll, who was another chap that used to go out quite a bit in Kendal, who started off the photography side of things.
Shot, to be fair. Pull that
It was a lovely golden hour bit that year, up to Fleetwood Pike sort of way. And it just sort of came together. So we started going out there, started cooking the meals, started compiling the book. Initially, it was a March deadline, I think, again.
Wow, that wasn't long.
It wasn't long at all. No. And just like my school days, I think I was pushing that to the wire. But unlike a university essay, you can't quite do a book overnight.
No.
So we pushed that back a few more times. They were quite patient with me, thankfully. And around sort of maybe July time, we'd finished the reshoots, finished the book, and then it was off to the printers. And then literally, as I say, I'd gone away to Spain. I was away there. I think you got a copy maybe in your doorstep before.
I think I did.
I saw one. And I came back from Spain, and there it was.
I was like, my words were when it came in the envelope. I was like, nah, it's just too heavy. This can't be his. And I was like, wow. But you know what? It makes total sense because this is exactly what it should be.
Well, I had the same. It was bigger than I expected it to be. Actually, it was much chunkier because I think I'd seen the sample copy, which was just a little small.
Yeah.
Blade, little sort of 20 pages, and then all of a sudden it comes through and you go, that's a right doorstopper, isn't it? But
even if you just look at the pictures, it makes you hungry.
Well, as it should.
Some of these
do.
are like wow,
as it should do. And
I've already eaten, but I'm hungry.
I was chuffed to get. There's a review just popped up actually on the Amazon page. I was chuffed to see because one guy said about how the fact that it does something that most books don't do, and the fact it's got a photo for every single recipe. And I was like, I'm glad he said that because that was a conscious sort of thought that. I always hate it when you read a recipe book. You'll be the same, but when you sort of open a page and it's just the words, and you're like, I want to see the dish.
What should it look like?
It looks like.
Well, that's the thing. That looks great. I want to know what it is and how to make it.
For sure.
Then
but then why doesn't mine look like that?
That is the problem.
You need some sort of reference of like, is it supposed to? If what I've made anywhere near what it's supposed to be? A picture helps.
Well, I'll be saying that about some of those dishes myself probably. I mean, I'm trying to replicate my own products.
Or easier when you go to a restaurant, you go, I want that one. Just point to a picture. I'll have that one, please.
It is, or sometimes they have ones that are almost like making of pictures, don't they? Where it's like this first little bit, and you go, "Well, I can't see how's it meant to look at the end?" Or you just rolled in the dough out of a rolling pin there, and that's the only picture you put in. But so that was a conscious fix. So I was glad that came to.
Was it difficult to decide on the cover? Was it much deliberation over what?
There was a bit of talk, yeah. It wasn't. I mean, at first, I suppose.
What meal is that?
So that's like a Tuscan bean stew there, with like a garlic and herb flatbread, on haystacks, looking down to Buttermere there.
Yeah. I knew it was somewhere like because I'm not familiar with Buttermere, so it must be somewhere over there.
Yeah,
it was Allswater or...
Well, that's Wainwright's favourite fell himself, that one, so a bit of a nod to that sort of thing. And I suppose, there was talk of maybe do we go more illustrated or do we go me on the cover, but then perhaps it was kind of going, well, does anyone actually know who I am? So it might be a bit more of a market if we...
Do you know who I am?
Outdoor food, I've never used that phrase and hope never to. But again, I think it was just trying to see a bigger picture of the fact that there's probably a lot more people who like outdoor cooking than there are people that know who Harrison Ward Fell Foodie is. So it was looking more at the food side, again, taking in that vista that's always inspired me in the Lake District Fells, being up high on the mountaintops. But again, I've aimed this very much at food and adventure. It's not about cooking on the mountains. It's about cooking in the outdoors. Yeah. So, whether that is just down at base camp, whether that's paddleboarding for the day and having a little cook up on a nice little
or in
island.
your caravan even.
Absolutely. Even making it at home first and packing it out into a nice little food flask. It's just enjoying a nice view with some good food. Rather
It
than
isn't just like a sandwich or the standard things that people
That's
take.
it, or the dehydrated meal or the meal deal from Tesco, exactly. Other supermarkets are available.
That's awesome. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
Who'd have thought?
Oh, absolutely. No, it is really bonkers really seeing that whole sort of journey. And again, from cooking with my grandmother and a very young sort of when I was younger to sort of coming full circle and being able to compile this all together and really share a bit of why I've done this and why food has played a part in my journey. Because I'm not a chef, I'm just a cook. I've just always enjoyed how food brings people together. And
what's the definition of a chef then? What if you're not a chef? What is a chef?
Well, I suppose people see it differently. I mean, I suppose most people might dub themselves a chef or even jokingly just say, I'm chef for the night, but. For me, I see it very much as someone who's trained. They've gone through the culinary college. They've gone through that level. They've worked their way up through an industry. Wherever I am, very much someone who's just watched a few TV programs, picked up a knife, and given it a go. Really, so I'd always sort of say cook rather than chef, and it's a very different thing. Having spent some time in professional kitchens during my hospitality days, not permanently, but covering sort of other chefs who weren't there on the day. It's a very different beast. I mean, I'm not saying perhaps that cooks can't cook food as well as chefs, because I think sometimes it could be tastier dishes, but chefs very much, it's almost like that factory precision of getting things out on the timings, getting them perfectly right, the pre-prep.
Have you seen Boiling Point?
Oh, unbelievable, isn't it?
You watched it?
I have. I've not seen The Bear yet. We'll probably get onto that in a second.
Have you seen the new series?
No, I've only seen the film so far. Only the film.
That's all I played, all the episodes of Boiling Point. I mean, I'm not into cooking really, but I was fascinating. Yeah. I saw the initial one that they did, which was filmed with one camera. So it would go amazing, to like someone in the one of the staff in the restaurant taking an order, then it would follow them into the kitchen, then it would stay with like the sous chef, then it maybe go to the head chef while he was doing something, then he'd shout across to someone in the pot wash or something, then it would follow him. But in between all that, there was all little stories to intertwine.
Yeah.
It only stayed with one camera for the whole thing, and it was only about half an hour, 40 minutes, was it the initial one? And then when they announced they were doing a series, I was like, that would make a perfect series, and they nailed it.
But the film was
so
like the whole
good.
time through. It was one take.
One take, yeah.
It was like a play. It was like watching a play.
It starts off like that in this series, but then it goes to multiple cameras. But
I've heard that.
There's no way that they could do that with all this, but
a nice little homage
they
though
didn't
to
need
where it
to.
started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But if anyone's even slightly into cooking, or even if you're not, it's just a good watch. Not just about the food side of it, but like how a kitchen works and like what these staff members have got going in their lives. Very interesting.
But then even sort of the filming side, you're thinking, how did they get all the sound Bob on doing all that sort of tracing that? Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I was actually it was Matt Tebbett I was watching talk at a festival recently. Again, I didn't meet him, but he was just talking, watching him, and he was saying about The Bear. I've not seen that.
I've not seen that either.
And he said he only watched an episode or two because it basically gave him PTSD. I think watching it, so it must be pretty realistic. But I think it's just a different skill set altogether. I very much admire what they go through in terms of like those long hours, the dedication they put in on the chefing side. I mean, it's something that obviously I've spent 14 years front of house, really, with a little bit of back of house, but I just feel as if it's not my place to call myself a chef. I feel it's almost a bit like a nurse calling themselves a doctor in a way.
Yeah. So have you had any reviews of this yet? Have you had much feedback?
Yeah, so far. I mean,
you looked at the Amazon reviews?
Amazon's where I've seen most of them so far, yeah. So they've all been very positive. There's
I'd imagine so.
One 4-star slip through so far, which I've not taken too deeply, but the only thing that's kind of...
It's funny, though, what people knock a star off for.
Well, that's the thing. They haven't said.
Oh.
So I'm kind of I'm like absolutely fair play. If you want to give it 1 star, if it's that poor, if it's really narked you, absolutely fine. But to give a very good review and then say 4-star, I'm going, well, what was the problem?
Why wasn't?
Where's the improvement? Where's
what do I have to do to get the extra star?
I know.
Come on, cook it at your house.
Delivery was a day late. 4 stars.
Yeah.
I know, that's it. Yeah, that was my fault, to be fair. I was stuck on the M6.
That's what you really want. Like you cook at his house, you're there going, go on, log in. Change it to 5, please.
But I guess that's part of it, and that's sort of the world we're in too, isn't it? Again, we mentioned the social media side before. Again, you put yourself out there, and I suppose it's kind of part and parcel. Sometimes you might get elements of criticism on bits on there. I've been quite lucky, to be fair. I've not received, a lot at all really on there, but I mean, it's something that could still come. Perhaps on the fact saying I'm quite open about my personal sort of battles and things, but it could be something you put a lot of work in.
The more famous you get, the more negative.
Well, undoubtedly,
it's just the way it works. But in a way, that's the sign that you've made it. Really,
maybe
if you get hate, people think you're terrible, then you've made it.
Well, it's all good for that algorithm that we all try and work out, I guess. Isn't it? Any comment's a good comment, but I suppose when it's something like that, when you put a lot of work into the book, you tried your best to do bits, and you may have particularly missed one thing out before it's gone to print. And
Oh,
hopefully,
if they're going to pick you out for things like that,
you
I would
don't
just
know,
ignore
do you? I
that.
mean, so far, I've not come across anything that way, but I'm sure someone will find that. And again, if you have found that after listening to this, then please do leave a 4-star review. But no, it's just great seeing it out in the wild. It's seeing it great, sort of how it's been taken and
initially,
approached.
I remember it was first people just thought, I've got it. And then now it's like people cooking meals out of it. And
Oh, there's one today that's really sort of, again, just I think puts it all down to exactly what this is about. And it was a young scout group, I think, and one of the scout leaders had bought the book, and literally all these kids there in this big village hall, all with camping stoves, all cooking, dishes from my book.
Wow.
And
That's
it was
awesome.
You're just there going, this is what it's about. That is exactly it. If that's the impact you were trying to leave, even if it was, not consciously, that was what I was trying to achieve. That is.
So it's like health implications of all this as well.
Well, maybe that side of thing. I mean, they were cooking pancakes.
Better diet.
But I suppose the term influencer gets thrown around sort of the social media side of things. It's one I don't really like because the connotations of it perhaps sometimes.
What you just said
but
there,
that, sort of
that
thing
is
there,
influencing people.
Exactly.
So you are an influencer.
If that sort of influence is how it's going to be foreseen, then I'll definitely take that one for sure. So
You are 100% influencer. You are.
We're sorry.
We're sorry, but you just are. That's just the way
That's
it is.
it. Fell Foodie 10 for bubble tea discounts.
But no, it's just because you obviously share when other people like cooking and showing your book and stuff, and it's just it seems to be endless.
So far, I mean, I suppose it's early days, that sort of thing. But it's always been great, I suppose, the first times you got someone cooking up the hillside, or even if they'd actually just made a sandwich to take up with them and they tag you and stuff. It's just nice that you've played a part in that sort of thing some way, or they want to almost showcase what they've done to you, sort of thing. And sometimes it might be better, but it's just nice to see and nice to have that. That is what social media should be about, that community aspect, I think, of sharing bits and bits. And people, again, I found a lot of things out through social media. When I first got into the hiking, I didn't know where to go, what certain equipment to use, or what to take out when I tried camping and things. And you learn from other people. So
That's it.
there is very much an educational tool there. I think that gets forgotten about a lot of the bad press that perhaps comes with, poorer campaigns or some trolling on there sometimes in bits. But, it literally has been the sole reason why I've come to this point of having that book out, why I've shared that story, why I had the chance to go on the television, has all been from just sharing that to the world on.
It's all led to this
Instagram
right now.
page. Absolutely. It's led to me being in this room right now on this podcast.
Yes. Announcing to the world that this book is out and it's fantastic.
Thank you, sir. That's very kind. That's very kind. I was glad you managed to get a copy. And so it's just the one dish you've cooked so far from there, then.
Just the one so far. That's all I've had time to do. I'll
that's
probably
more
do a
than
lot
just come
more next spring when I start getting out and about a bit more and the weather gets a bit better.
You're going to go out as well?
I think I'm going to try.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's great stuff. I think I do expect most people to actually do a lot of them at home, to be fair.
Yeah, they will. They definitely will. That's the easier option. But yeah, I'd like to. Maybe we can go and do one together.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You be up for that?
Yeah, sure. So I'll bring a microphone.
Yeah, bring pointing the microphone in our face, are we?
That'll be part 3 of the
Part 3, yes.
the third appearance. Well, I think this is my first time being a second appearance on a podcast, to be fair. So
It is. Oh, you've never been on one twice?
No, this is my first time. So
You're the first person to return since we've been at Sunbeams.
Really?
Yeah.
I like the way you did that then. It was nearly first person on the podcast, but then you just made
No, we've had multiple people. Well, at the old studio, we were there for 5 years, so.
Oh, well, I see. Your little black book ran out, did it?
Yes, yeah. I think in February we are 7 years. I think
I couldn't tell you.
the first one was February 17, so.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's the mass, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
well,
work, yeah.
which is my worst subject, so.
Yeah. There we go. We're on there. But that's fantastic. I mean, again, I suppose podcasts these days, most of them don't stand that test of time, do they? They get to maybe
No, it's a lot.
20 episodes, 30 episodes,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
People just, I don't people realise how much work goes into it or or have much of a plan other than like they'll do a few episodes and go, what do I do now?
Well, likewise, I think sometimes, what I often hear is it's often finding the person to be the other side. I mean, if it was just you two in the sort of room, of course, you could just turn up and keep going, aren't you? But actually finding someone and liaising the diaries, getting that involved for them to come, and then
Well, once you've been
getting
going
them
for a
set
while,
down.
you kind of get your name out there and people say, oh, see somebody else on, and they go, oh, I want to go on that.
Yeah.
It used to be me always asking people to come on, but now I get people asking to come on here, so.
Well, I think when I came on this the first time, I don't think I'd even listened to a podcast, before.
Ever?
I never listened to
Wow.
them. No, it was just
And
not
now?
not a medium I used to utilise.
And now?
Now all the time. Yeah, all the time.
No, I thought you were going to say, now I've listened to 2.
Just the ones that I'm on.
I search for my name in any of my podcast app, see what comes up.
Well, I'd be lying if I haven't listened to a few of those. But no, it's something that I quite enjoy now, just when, as far as driving the medium of it. I didn't really get the medium at first. I enjoyed the chance of having a conversation, enjoyed meeting other people, but saw that as very much, like a real human-to-human level rather than...
But
sort
you
of
need
this
to
ethereal
experience it as a
digital
listener. You
space.
need to find podcasts that you liked for them to
Yeah.
go, I get it now. these are brilliant.
No, absolutely, and it sort of introduced me to more sort of conversation, more worlds, different points of view and stuff that I think it's just a medium that I really enjoy. And as you're saying, I've done quite a lot as a guest and different formats.
Yeah. Since you were last on here, you've done quite a lot.
I think it's something that I just, very much appreciate when people reach out to me, whether it's sharing a picture like they have done before, whether it's someone saying, it's taking the time to go, can we do a piece to record? I mean, for me, taking, an hour out of my time to do that, for them to listen, by all means, I will.
An hour? You're going to be here for 4 hours, son.
I know this one will be slightly longer. I know that much, but I think it just, for what it takes for that thing, you never know who's listening on the other side. And again, always having that initial mantra of, hopefully that story impacting someone.
Yeah.
Again,
I think with podcasts as well, you can be a bit more loose, a bit more free. Like you on, was it Radio Cumbria today or was that yesterday?
Yeah, today. Yeah.
So radio's very, I don't know want to use the word limited, but you're only on for a short amount of time, and you've got to be careful what you say.
I suppose
it has to adhere to certain standards as well, like broadcasting standards.
Yes.
Whereas this is much free. This is just us,
Say what you want, swear.
Yeah.
But that's what I like, and I think you notice that with celebrities now, they'll always favour to go on a podcast than on a TV or a radio show now. It's totally flipped round. They always look for the list of which podcast I'm on. Oh, good, I'm on for that one.
I suppose maybe sometimes there's a point of saying too much though as well. I mean,
of course,
they maybe keep
get
talking.
themselves in hot water. Yeah,
that's why the podcast probably host booked them to try and get all that out. So that's probably Stephen Bartlett's territory, isn't it? But it's
his is fantastic. His has just gone another level now.
Absolutely flying, isn't it?
He's focusing on just that now. Have you watched his behind the diary?
He was making the other day. Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it?
So he set up a separate channel now called Behind the Diary, where he's just focusing on behind the scenes of the podcasts. So where he'd show you before and the after the guests and all the lead up to it and all the production. He meets the team, all his team. It's just fascinating.
The thing is, I do very much admire it, and I also think the fact that because he's able to start because he had the finances to begin with. Of course, you're able to make all those little loops.
You're still going to have good content, though. You're still going to have good conversations. There's been many celebrities who've jumped on the podcast bandwagon, and it's just gone because they didn't have any product. They didn't have anything good to say.
Very true, very true. But
they just either saw it as a vanity thing or a cash cow, and it's not. It can be neither if you don't do it right.
I did very much like when he released the book because he always has a little bit, doesn't he, about writing something in the diary for the next guest. That he
actually has a diary, yeah.
That often doesn't get revealed actually on the show, does it?
But on he has the screen of his entire week by week, which is pretty full.
But I like the fact he compiled all those into a book. I thought that was very clever, as it's a product that comes from the podcast. Then was a very smart move. But I guess that's why he's done so well in business. I guess. But,
he's just very organised and just good conversations with interesting people, which is what we all want to listen to.
No, that's great. But again, sometimes some of the podcasting, it's nice to be on this the second time, to be fair, because I often feel sometimes I've got to maybe go through that linear journey myself and talk about what I've done. Where now we've been through that now, haven't we? So we can sort of...
We've been through your past.
Absolutely.
Which I think is you're still going around the whole... Most of the places you're going are to tell that story again.
Definitely.
Which is fine because you need to do that. But I'm glad we're on the now and in the future.
Yeah, well, it allows you just to be in the present, doesn't it? Exactly, and just sort of have a crack and just sort of bring
a bit more positive because it's quite a heavy story. Yours, it's quite
I suppose
it's
so.
real.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's one of those. I think when you sort of stand up and talk on the stage, people often think, "Do you get nervous doing that?" And I think, well, I got more nervous when you were maybe at school or university trying to do a talk because you weren't too sure if you knew the subject material, and they might call you out for saying, "No, that's the wrong."
But if you don't know about yourself,
then... but now it's you, and you go, "Well, I'm the expert." So again,
no one knows more about this than me.
Yeah, so there might be someone who knew me in sort of year 7, first year at school. Goes,
actually, it was
bullshit. He's a liar. I've got proof. Well, it hasn't happened so far.
Nervous talking, any of your public speaking stuff, do you?
I'm usually okay, to be fair. I mean, I definitely prefer the ad lib sort of bit at the end. I like the questions. I like the
Q&As,
the real bit or part of the panels. When you do go through more of a structured talk, inevitably it becomes slightly scripted as time goes on. I always try and keep it loose and raw. Yes. But there are phrases I have used multiple times. I think they come out in podcasts and things these days.
What are the questions you get asked then? Generally, what are people asking you? What do they want to know?
It tends to vary. I think if I've gone and done a cooking demonstration, everyone always asks about my journey.
Right.
But if I talked about my journey, they always ask about cooking. It seems to be one or the other. So it's quite nice. But someone always asks, what's your favourite dish to cook?
Okay.
Every time. And if it's not someone in the audience, it's the host before she's asked the audience what they want to ask. And it's probably the hardest question because I haven't really got an answer. And every time I answer it the same way, and I just sort of
depends what you fancy.
Exactly, it depends who I'm cooking for, what it is, and what I just like
ask
the
a different
process.
Question. What's your favourite takeaway?
To take up a mountain.
Pizza for me. Pizza all day.
Pizza is good, isn't it? I do like a curry though.
Oh yes, good curry.
Yeah.
I like them all. To be honest, that's the problem.
I do like a curry. I'm not tend to be one sort of for the branded sort of takeaway so much, but I tend to definitely
find a good local one.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. I think it just feels a bit more authentic, even though it's been completely anglicised probably half the time and made for our taste buds. It feels more authentic.
Yeah, I love a good spicy curry. What about you?
Kebab.
Oh yes,
kebab.
No,
Again, I think they can vary so much, though, can't they? I think you can't usually go too far wrong. If you get like a fish and chips, you know what you're getting half the time.
Oh yeah.
But kebab,
always room for a cheeky Mackie D's as well every once in a while.
See that?
Kebab or pizza normally.
Pizza's the best.
Yeah, I've still not done a pizza outdoors yet, actually. It's been on my list for a while.
That would be a bit more challenging, though, would it not?
Yeah, I mean, I've done some sort
You need a hot plate kind of thing to cook the base. You couldn't do that on a stove.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got a little convection oven out there, so I have done things like lasagnas and breads, cakes, focaccias and stuff on there.
Do mini pizzas, couldn't you?
I could definitely do a calzone of some sort of sort of donut-shaped calzone I could do on that bit of equipment.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, there'll be a way and a means. I'll be able to find it, whether it's slightly bastardised or slightly deconstructed as they use in the Master Chef.
Well, that's what we'll do next year when we go. We'll go
pizza. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. What if you invented a machine that will do that? You could probably find a need that is required, and you could develop the kit to do it.
Yeah.
And all those Italian mountain guides putting me on the hit list.
A pizza up a mountain.
Yeah, no, you could do. You could. Well, that's the other thing, I suppose. I mean, I'm not going down that line as such yet, and you don't know whether you will do, but there are certain bits, the more you use the equipment, you go, oh, it'd be good if this could do this, or that would work better if it did that slightly. And then you think, that doesn't exist in the market now. But then you're going, well, how many people are really perhaps that anal about camp stove cooking? I suppose it's probably just me.
So so next year you'll be on Dragon's Den.
That's it, yeah, Barl, I'm coming for you. No.
Well, I can see fellow foodie branded stuff. Where it be your own brand of camp stove.
Who knows? Again, all of
this is where he's going to, next week, he'll be announcing exactly what we're just talking about. You just can't talk about it now.
This is he started to work out my poker face now.
Yes, it's a good brand. Even your logo. I like your logo. Apart from, it reminds me of snow.
Snow?
Yeah, because it's white.
True.
They're not green.
Mm-hmm. Very true. I suppose maybe it's for the good red-green colourblind crew. That's what
maybe
it's accessibility. That's why.
But it's a good logo because it just stands out. It's recognisable.
Well, I went through a few different versions over the years. You probably maybe reveal those at some point. But the early ones were definitely a bit more MS Paint than.
Let's pull his Instagram up. Let's see what he's been up to.
Go on then.
You won't find the logo on there.
But you've been to some stuff recently. You've been doing some stuff.
Well, I think the one thing with it's funny how the social media account is what started it all and what's brought it all in. Yeah, it's probably the one thing I neglect most these days because I've spent so much time driving about the place or trying to.
Yeah. So let's start with the Volvo thing. What's the Volvo arrangement you've got?
Well, that's absolutely bonkers, really. I mean, they got in touch when I was still in that day job and said that they basically like to work with me going forward as an ambassador. And at first I started thinking, well, have you got the right email address here? Is this one of those that's going to ask me my bank details and run away with it all? And lo and behold, after a few back and forths, someone turned up on the day with a car.
Wow.
So I've been working with them now for about 2.5 years as one of their ambassadors.
So basically I'm going to guess that you just, obviously, wherever you go, you're driving a Volvo and you're always like tagging them in posts and stuff and promoting them, basically.
Yeah. But again, it's a very, it's not as fickle as you think that sort of a brand partnership either. There's real sort of connection with the people that are there as well. It's been a nice group to be sort of involved in, and it does feel very much that you'd hear that company going, wow, it must be massive being involved in there, but it's quite a small team at the heart of it, really. And it's become very personal. I've been to head office quite a few times. I spoke there a few bits. We've enjoyed some things outside of work before, and really it's just bonkers to come back to it all. I'm thinking you're working with a brand that internationally recognised like that.
Yeah, really. So that's January 2022. So it was all going on there for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very came out. You announced a deal with Volvo.
yeah. I think my boss did see something was coming when it all started happening at the same time. I think.
But everyone was like, bloody hell, who is this guy? Who's he think he is?
Well, I think when I handed my notice in, I'd already got the brand deal with the Volvo, and I think my boss had the same car, which was quite an interesting one.
Sorry, he paid for his.
If you're listening. But then obviously I'd handed my notice in, worked the notice, and during that's when the Mary Berry came bit, which I was still holding secret at the time, so it was kind of like, what's going on?
Wow.
But yes, I've been working with them for quite a while now, and again, it's just
trying to... I drive a Volvo, so there you go.
Oh, amazing. It's just... yeah, well, I can't contractually say what I drove beforehand currently, but but it certainly was not a car like this, that's for sure.
No. What are you driving? What is it?
So it's the XC90
Okay.
plug-in hybrid.
I've got the
it is.
XC60. There you go.
Wonderful, yeah. But just amazing cars. I mean, it's just like driving around in an armchair half the time. I think it's just so pleasant.
2 dogs
to be
and a
around
child, no problem.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, there's a lot of equipment I'm carrying around now. So I feel like these shows, some of the interactive ones. I mean, I'm bringing cabinets of everybody out there. I've got big firebirds. I've got a big portable fridge I'm taking still. So having that all in the car, not for the outdoor fell cooking, but when I'm doing the festivals.
Yeah, you have to take it with you. Yeah.
You know, it's become really. I wonder how I'll be able to do it without this. Really, to be honest. So they've been a great support in that sort of thing. Probably have been one of the main pushes that have allowed me to do this full time at the early days. But having their support ongoing and going forward is. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Volvo's aiming to completely electrify its range by 2030.
Yeah, and they've not backtracked like the others either.
No.
A lot of the others have
It's
backtracked now
only
and changed.
almost just over 6 years.
Yeah, well, even the government themselves now are backtracking, aren't they? On that?
Yeah.
They pushed it backwards and things. And it's everything. I mean, they're one of those that you sometimes think there's the greenwashing that goes on in various bits, but in there, you know, even people go, well, what about the steel? They're making the steel with coal for these cars. But even Volvo's changed that. They're even making steel with hydrogen plants in Sweden. So
hydrogen's another key aspect in all of this, isn't it?
So steel produced with hydrogen that's then making an electric car, that sort of bits going forward. Everything they do in the office has all been changed. So I think they are really serious about the model going forward. So I think that really helps when you're trying to push that as a brand, really. Because again, I've always been someone that I don't tend to like that sales bit of the social media world that can get these days.
Bit pushy.
I like to work with brands that I like to use, I respect, or would use.
Good values and stuff, yeah.
Of course, I mean, this was definitely, I turned my head when this one came in for sure. But it's still likewise. I'm not spouting rubbish. It's tough that they really are believing in making those changes to go forward in. So that's been a partnership that's been going for quite a while now, and one that hopefully will continue in the future. But again, an absolute bonkers deal from some chap again that was just taking his camping pans up the hilltop. Some dishes. I mean, thank you for having me, Volvo. I do wonder why sometimes, but thank you.
Fair play to Volvo. That's awesome.
Having me on board. To some bloke from Carlisle.
It's impressive. What else has he been up to?
So these are the pinned ones, aren't they? So these are the ones you can do the pins on Instagram now to showcase what your most favourite things are. But
This one.
So that was Mary.
Yeah, she is.
The institution that is on the hilltop. So again, smiling away. So you
Mary.
can see the little one with the red lid there. That's what I make the cake on. So like a little convection oven on there.
Yes.
Well,
If you're only listening to the audio of this, haha.
Yeah.
So again, it was a lovely sunny day. Again, looking back onto Blencathra, that was that first mountain that I hiked up those early days. So telling that story, looking back on that mountain that started this whole path, it was a real sort of full circle moment, I guess, of having that out there. And I think it aired 4 times in the end, which was bonkers. It had 2 runs on the day.
Twice. Yeah.
A repeat, I think, the following week. And then literally about 6 months ago, I noticed all these followers coming in. I was going, what's going on there? Have I done a press bit of coverage? Or sometimes when you've done like a podcast or you've done a magazine, you might see a little bit of a follow through. But this was a bit too much for that. And then it turned out someone else tagged me saying, I've just seen you on the telly again. And they did it again. I didn't even know it was on. So
I was watching it with my wife and I was like, I can't believe this. This is incredible. Fair play.
Very strange.
But again, this is just you doing what you do. You're not trying. You haven't like sort of created this intentionally. It's just happened. It's very organic. The whole thing, isn't it?
Completely. I'm not knocking on doors asking for the opportunities.
No,
I'm not.
I think that adds. I think that adds to it. That adds to the sort of legitimacy of it. Is the fact that it's just you doing what you're doing. You've just started pouring your heart on social media one day, but then you've taken on this whole other route that's just led you to here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it just feels as if you sort of hit that little vein in the mine shaft, and you sort of just seeing where it goes. Keep chipping away with the pickaxe, and bits will fall into play, and you're going, where's this going to end, or where's it going to stop? And again, it's something that I think I do just take it as it comes and ride that wave. Really, it might be something that does fizzle out in a couple of years, and go back to sort of finding some more sort of 9-to-5 work again, or it could be something that takes it a bit further.
At least you've got that option if you had to. But
well, I think
honestly, I don't think you'll have to do that again.
Oh, bless you, sir. But it's just kind of enjoying it for what it is, I think, and appreciating your roots and who you've met along the way as well. I think because it's just something that
what it is it's a niche. I wouldn't say it's a small niche, but it's a reasonable sized niche that you fit into nicely. But there's always room for it to grow.
There's not much I fit into that nicely. I mean, hard shoulders.
But like all the expos that you do and stuff, they're only gonna you'll probably get regular spots on things. And
I'm starting to return to quite a few. Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm heading back to the NEC again next month, and I've been there 5 times this year. So it feels like with a second home. But it's always funny when you're talking about outdoor cooking whilst you're in this big indoor aircraft hangar in Birmingham. It's always going. It's quite. You just got to close your eyes and imagine.
But it's that big, you could almost be outdoors.
Absolutely. So there is that sort of dystopian side of it sometimes, and plus, likewise, I appreciate some of the stuff I'm cooking on those hilltops as well. I mean, it's pretty damn ridiculous, to be fair. So, I do like the humour aspect to it and the challenge factor of that.
Yeah.
Can I make this? It's absolutely pointless, a bit ridiculous, but it's good fun. So I'll have a go.
Well, I mean, the TV chefs get criticised for the stuff that they can cook in their kitchen. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, what's he doing to that? Oh, why is he doing that?" It's just like, just let him cook.
Yeah, why would you let him cook? There you go. But it's, but sometimes I think it reminds me a bit of that craze that was extreme ironing.
Yes.
You see people popping up in different
I'm
locations.
sure we brought that up on the podcast once. I can't remember who it was, but
it was maybe me last time. Maybe
it was
maybe
ridiculous.
use my phrases.
No, this was at the old studio. I remember this. That was the first time I'd heard of it. Like ironing on top of mountains.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you cannot justify what the point of that is, can you? At all. It's just kind of absolute shits and giggles. We're going to go up there and pose with an iron, but early sort of Facebook, MySpace days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With an ironing board and an iron. Again, no one spoke about the fact they'd carted that up there in the first place, but they've walked up with that. Imagine the people walking past them on the way up, and there's an ironing board on his back. So again, for me, I think sometimes when I'm out there, maybe with a pestle and mortar or grating a bit of nutmeg on top of a nice rice pudding I've just knocked up on some little fell, then it's all blown off the hillside. It's kind of almost that satire that's not lost to me. I find that sort of tongue-in-cheek, that bit of humour.
Surprised someone hasn't done like a cartoon of you or.
I think I do it to myself, don't I?
I thought you were using that as like a segue into what you wanted to show him.
No, but
you did me a drawing.
I've used some AI.
Speaking of which,
I've emailed it to our email account, so I'm sure producer Liam will pull it.
I hope it was an old, more flattering picture than my current. I'm liking the look of that little. What popped up there?
Long time.
Is it the one with the hashtag that you want to see? Because there was two. They're the same thing, but one's got a hashtag on.
Who, Dr. Ian Harrows?
Either. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Look at that handsome chap.
So that was me. I used Microsoft Bing, to create that with just words. I just told it what I wanted.
I think my chest was looking like that a bit ago. But those calves are pretty realistic, actually. I think they're to scale.
And that is. What did I say?
That's amazing. I love that.
So I might use that for promoting this episode when it comes out.
Have I got a sleeve?
It don't get. There'll be.
I've got a tattoo
remember
sleeve.
our last guest. Yes, it doesn't get things perfectly.
I've got even more ridiculous.
I thought it was a tattoo there on one of your arms.
I've hiked to a little coffee table. I've reached new limits. Look, well, I've hiked up with me. Amazing stuff. That looks a bit to me like Ullswater.
It is.
I think we're on
I
top
just
of
said. I said over Ullswater.
Glenriddin Dodd there on Ullswater with some interesting contraption.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If you do look close, there are some weird oddities about it. But
It will be.
That's
AI for you.
How close am I looking here? I mean, he's even got the Garmin watch on there again, not branded, not sponsored.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
hashtag gifted.
The panhandle's a bit odd. The panhandle in the bottom left is also a bit odd.
Is the panhandle growing at my shorts?
Do you know what? I've not really looked at this after I
Maybe
did
it's become an extension of myself. Maybe this is like a futuristic Android version of Fell Foodie, that the pan has become him now.
Yeah.
It just extends from the knee.
Yeah, like the burner implement fused with the table looks a bit odd as well. Just the limitations of AI.
Maybe it's
getting better and better though.
It is.
6 months ago, it couldn't even do hands properly.
The limitations are one of the limitations is me though. So by what I tell it, so maybe I could have elaborated on or described it better. But
it's a bit too nice a day for October as well, isn't it?
But if you've seen the ones that people do with like Donald Trump fronting a metal band and stuff.
Yeah.
Because for a long time it couldn't do fingers properly.
Yes. Well, if you remember on the last one, Ant McGinley, when he had the big fiery wrestler, weren't his fingers or his hands were all messed up?
Oh, was he all salad fingers?
Yeah, because you don't mention. I didn't mention your hands or your legs. I've just said roughly. I said a chunky guy. That was my description. Chunky guy.
A chunky guy. Well, the internet knows enough about my legs these days. That was what Twitter was full of when Mary Berry aired. I think was all comments about my legs. But I'll take it. I'll take it.
So there you go.
I'm liking this comment here of this email Mark's put in the background as well. This little
That's what I called the email.
Yeah.
See.
It's just,
so there you go.
Yeah.
He's maybe dubious about AI's capabilities there, but
so
I like that.
Might use that for.
Is that the thumbnail?
It might be. Yeah, I think I might use
Looks
that.
good.
Yeah.
I like it. Maybe get that on some t-shirts. Maybe.
I've got some of the ridiculous ones, but I'll show you them afterwards.
I think I would look forward to those as well. Look forward. But yeah, it's funny because I guess the more I've been out on the road and sort of all various bits, again, what started it all has been this Instagram page. But more and more, it's probably the one thing I need to really pull my finger out and keep up to date more often. Because sometimes you find that you're bouncing from one place to the other, you're back on the road again. And again, I'm not trying to play my little violin here because I appreciate it's a privileged world I've gone into and what I'm doing, and I'm very much grateful for that. But at times I feel like I need to keep these updates going, and we'll keep posting life, and I guess that feels a responsibility that I'm sure Red Shepherdess, as you mentioned, feels as well, that she has to keep her life online.
But she seems to do
updated.
She just does lots of lives where she'll just be out in the morning, she'll just say, this is what's happening today, and then she'll do a bit of maybe a recap of the day. So obviously she spends time doing that. But I know I've seen what other influencers do is they'll just do a photo dump or a video the next day or at the weekend when they actually get time. They go, this is what I've done this week. They'll just stockpile what they've done and then do it in a one.
The instant aspect of Instagram has soon dissipated, hasn't it? But it's
whatever works for you. Do you know what I mean?
I find there's some things I've still got on my phone that I've still not even got around to even putting up or not edited through.
It's not a bad problem to have. You've got too much stuff going on that you can't.
I suppose so. Yeah, it just makes me feel guilty. I think. But then some days as well, you might have stuff you want to do stuff, and then you mentioned before about perhaps do you have that sort of confidence crisis sometimes? And I think sometimes you do because I do find it quite an odd medium half the time because it's not very human. And
you might feel awkward about talking about yourself all the time.
Well, no, I'm quite confident about that. I'm quite comfortable with that.
Well, that's a common thing though. Is people feel comfortable.
Is it?
Oh, I'm tears only talking about myself again, but people are interested. Obviously, you wouldn't have all these followers, and you wouldn't be where you are now if they weren't interested, would you? So.
The thing I find strange is, I mean, again, this is a very normal interaction. I feel, even though we're getting recorded, I think this is quite a normal chat. And again, for those listening in, hopefully they feel the same as we read our scripts. No. But again, I think when I'm being filmed on the cameras or something, and I've had those chances, I feel that's quite normal. I understand that concept.
You've got used to that now, haven't you?
Well, even not that. I mean, I understand that concept because usually talking to somebody else, that sort of way. But talking to your phone and filming it, I just can't get that out of my head. I just don't feel. I feel so dystopian.
For some people, that's all. Like Red Shepherdess does a lot of that.
I really struggle with that.
So do a lot of influencers. Most of their content. Oh, like Steve Bartlett, he does a lot of that. Yeah. Where he'll just do that. Or a lot of people have like a stand where they put the phone on a stand and they'll just talk to the camera.
But if you were stood in the street with me or on a felt top and you were there with a camcorder filming me, and I was talking to the camera, I'd be fine. But if I was stood there by myself, holding my phone in my hand, I would just feel like the whole world is just watching, pointing, going, who the hell does he think he is? What's going? It's really weird. That's what that internal monologue that comes into it, because that's part of the nature that you're in that world. Yet walking on a stage is absolutely fine, but it just doesn't feel as human a concept to me sometimes. So it can be bizarre, that sort of battle with the social media. So some days
you don't necessarily need to do that though, do you? Because you're always out talking to people, and people are always documenting what you're doing. You're taking photos, you know you're there.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's ultimately it. That's all these things. It's just show, isn't it? You don't need to prove you're there. It's kind of like
people are always filming it. There's always clips and stuff of.
It's like if you've gone for a run, isn't it? You didn't do Strava, it didn't happen. It's It's that sort of world half the time.
Have to take a selfie. It's my furthest away point to prove that I went there.
No, that is a good point. But sometimes, it just feels you fall back a little bit on maybe.
Well, for most people, it's more about the story, doing your stories.
Keep up appearances, perhaps.
Going live or doing stories rather than. I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people don't actually post that much, but they do a lot of stories, just constant, which they come on and they disappear. Yeah,
that is the instant part of it now, isn't it? I think you are sort of keeping up to date of where you are and what you're doing. But
a lot more people. That's how people consume it. They're just scrolling. They're just looking for videos, quick videos, little things like. I mean, are you on TikTok?
I am.
Do you
very
use it
briefly. I tend to. I get sucked in myself. I think it's just too good. It's like crack, isn't it?
See, I don't. I do it for the podcast.
You just
but
as
I
well.
don't. When I go on, I click onto like my profile. I don't let it show videos.
You
on
just
my face.
as well because it pulls you in. Honestly, it's like the hand grabs at the screen. That's it. Next minute you're going.
Gotta be strict because I don't have the time. So I'm like, no, don't show me videos.
You've got someone to answer to, haven't you?
If I haven't looked at any videos, it hasn't got an algorithm to feed me.
See, that's it. Once it gets you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a rabbit hole. But I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in what I do. I mean, I'm not doing any dance videos, so don't expect those if you're on TikTok. We've not branched into those. But I think, again, video as a medium, I think, is something that I've not really utilised enough, I think. That's what my content would be best for, would be video.
Well, I could imagine you would have maybe some sort of crew go with you. I mean, you've done bits of that, haven't you, before? You've had people follow you up and sort of do a little mini...
little bits. Yeah, more brand work, I guess. When I've worked with some brands, sort of, whether it's Blacks or Go Outdoors, and so they followed me up. And again, when I had the Mary Berry piece, I did a piece on Channel 5 as well with Dr. Amir Khan that we followed up. But again, I suppose back to Stephen Bartlett world, if we all had the finances to do so, I probably would be paying a crew to come out with me all the time.
When I got this, one of my first thoughts was I could imagine you going up with the book, cooking one of the meals and like having someone follow you all the way up, like do like a bit of an interview type thing, watch you cook the meal, and then go, so I've just done this meal here, and I did this and I did that. You know, it's just like proof of you cooking your own meals from your book, sort of thing.
It sounds like you want to write me a TV treatment, Mark. I mean,
anytime.
That's it. I'm happy to give producer credit. It's fine.
But that would work, like video content wise. That would work. You know, things like that.
I'd love to do more, and it's one thing that people have asked a lot long for, more video stuff. But again, I suppose it's just that one time commitment is, and also carting it all up again with me. It's enough carting all the food stuff up there, but again, hopefully it gets to a point that I'm starting to work with a chap down the road who has his sort of own video studios and stuff that we're trying to do a bit more of, because I think it's good fun as well. I like to document things there. And again, there's a lot of educational tool in there too. If I can teach more about how to cook these things, how to sort of behave in there, how to utilise the environment through a format of video, which is tend to be the one that's favoured now, that's going to work well. So again, it's that positive influence or responsible influence that I like to sort of partake in. But TikTok, I am on there. Again, threatening to do a lot more. And again, like the YouTube, I think probably last time I was in here, I probably said I was going to do a lot more YouTube.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
Again, it's time. It's time, because if it's just you, you've got to do it all yourself. Yeah,
and there's banks of stuff I filmed that are still sat on portable hard drives that haven't been edited up yet. And
there you go.
You're thinking it's me 2 summers ago talking about probably something that's not viable anymore. Maybe talking about the penalty shootout that England were about to lose. I don't know.
Now it sounds like you do. You need a team. You need a team of people, video editors and social media people to take care of that. I think
we'll
that's
drop
your
an
next.
email at the end, and we can accept.
If anyone's listening, he wants to help him.
Investors,
help him man out.
40% of the business.
I mean, he's done pretty well for himself as he is. So I mean, if you can elevate him to the next level with his video content,
I know it would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice. But then. Yeah, but likewise, it's just kind of just.
It kind of goes hand in hand though, because if you start doing that, then the quality of your content goes up. You're more consistent. You're pumping out more content because you don't have to do it all. Do you know what I mean?
It's the speculate to accumulate sort of equation, I guess, isn't it? It's kind of at that point where there's a little bit too much for me to do at the moment.
Yeah,
which is a very good place to be.
At the minute, you can only put out what you can put out.
Yeah. And then again, even as what you say, I'm driving around, obviously a lovely vehicle, but driving up and down for some of these expos, and a lot of it is, I very much enjoy driving. I like having the podcasts on these days.
Yes.
In the past, but I like having those on. I like a bit of music on in the car. I love sort of driving in the dark and having a bit of a sing-song. Yes. But it is also...
Just in the dark.
I prefer in the dark. I don't know what it is.
No one should see him singing.
No, I don't think it's that. I just think, maybe it feels like you're flying the Millennium Falcon as you're going down the M6, maybe. At the speed limit, of course.
Of course,
But yeah, perhaps in a way it is very dead time as well, I suppose. Because
it's great. Our podcasts are great for that, killing times. If you listen to a good podcast, time can just go like that.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of perhaps, there's still the stuff to do on the other side. So if I've done a gig maybe in Bristol or so, I'm driving back up again 5 hours on the road, for example, then that's still time that maybe I haven't done. I still haven't edited a video in that time. I still haven't done the emails I need to do at that time. It's still there to do on the other side. So it's
I know. I've seen some influencers where they'll get the train so that they can plug their laptop in and do some.
Which probably makes a lot more sense, I guess. It's probably when I've got probably 2 or 3 holdalls of equipment. I'm just thinking how interesting that would be squeezing through those little gates.
Or they'll have a friend who'll drive them. Or they'll have a friend who'll drive them so they can work while they travel, while they commute.
Well, that's maybe the one. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'll wrote my girlfriend as the driver. Maybe I don't know. But it's. But again, I appreciate all this is a very nice position to be in. It's not something I'm not whining about all this at all. It's just the realities of the path I found myself on and trying to still work out, I guess, what it is I do.
Well, the thing is, it's all about making sure it stays fun and a passion for you, because if it becomes too much work, then you start not enjoying it, then that's going to affect it. It's going to affect your sort of enthusiasm for it, because it becomes more of a chore. Then ideally, you'd like to be able to just go and do what you do and have people capture it and put it out.
Well, that's the ideal word, I guess, isn't it? Probably having someone else.
I can see that's where you need to get to eventually if you want to.
Maybe someone else being the bad cop who's actually doing the T's and C's in the email as well, rather than trying to play the barter game sometimes.
Well, I mean, if you keep going the way you're going, you're only going to get busier.
Well, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'd like being busy, to be fair. I think that's maybe the old hospitality days in me, doing the old 16-hour shifts and just sort of doing there all day long. I think I'm not one that likes the idle hands so much, I think.
So have you like this year, have you had many weekends where you've had nothing on?
Oh, now you're asking, aren't you? You're asking now. Weekends especially, because I suppose that's the irony of it, the fact that back when I was in the sort of pub game, weekends, of course, were premium. And any sort of Christmas time, people were like, we're starting to relax. And you'd be thinking, well, this is peak time now. Or any bank holidays, you didn't see any of those. With the gingerbread sort of job, of course, was Monday to Friday. It was basically revolved around the post offices, really. So it was kind of when they weren't working, you weren't working. But then coming out the other side into it now, I've gone completely back into weekend work again, because it's all festivals, all expos.
All the events,
then likewise, you go to some of these events, and you'll have a few talks there. It's fantastic. Display what you're doing. There's a lot more prep goes into my stuff than perhaps just going to tournament and talking does, because I've got all the food prep and doing all that beforehand. But once I'm there, and then able to enjoy this wonderful experience as well. So it's kind of, although it's a work weekend, it doesn't always feel very much like work.
Yeah, you make it work with pleasure because you get to be a punter afterwards.
Yeah,
don't you?
it's not so long ago. I'm still, remembering those days of sort of, in the pub days of 16-hour shifts and stuff, where you kind of like, how have I got to this point really? Sort of, and all of a sudden now it's maybe a couple of hours doing that sort of thing, and you go, well, is that it? I'm free. I could do some pots. I could do this. I could collect some glasses.
Well, sometimes you're cooking, like concentrating cooking your meal, but whilst mic'd up talking to the audience. I've seen you do that sometimes.
Yeah, that's quite good fun. Yeah, I mean, it's just testing the limits of my male multitasking. But
so you're working on your banter with the audience as well.
Trying to. How am I faring today? It's all little bits, but that's the bit I love, is the interaction side of things, and what I've always tried to maintain across this whole path, because although there's never been any aim in this, I have always tried to maintain that it wasn't just a social media thing. It's kind of, if I am out and doing things to real people, it's kind of, you're a lot more, you're demonstrating, you're out there, you're teaching, you're hands-on, and it isn't just, some guy posting pictures in his bedroom sort of thing and getting a following that way. So I love those touch times, when you're out there at the events, sharing the samples, sharing the stories, people asking questions, sharing stories of their adventures, because that is the human aspect, and that's always why I fell in love with food, because it brings people together.
Yeah.
And that's still the root cause of really the bits I enjoy the most.
It's a bit like any kind of art, like what you make, then someone...
Well,
in a way it is, because if you make something really nice and someone loves it, then they go, oh, that was delicious. But like if you wrote a song and someone loves the song.
Well, maybe that's a new niche, maybe. We're going sort of starting a guitar.
Or someone wrote a script or a play.
Amazing.
It is, though.
Fell Foodie on Broadway, coming soon. Brilliant. No, but I suppose, I can see what you're getting at there. I mean, definitely it is a medium. It is a gift in a way. So if you cook something for somebody else, you share that with somebody else there, you're almost providing something to them. And
this book is just a continuation of that.
Yeah, well, that's what I've tried to do.
So just think, like, out there's constantly people cooking meals out of your book going, this is good. Or this is bad. That'll be them.
They might do.
Wrong.
That's it. More 4 stars rolling in. But no, it's always been about that. Again, that's what got it for me. It was seeing sort of different, on the continent where they brought people together, where the families were inviting them around for dinner. They were cooking for people, whether it's one person who'd been, really putting that passion into it all day. For everybody else who'd been out having their hard days working, they came back to enjoy a meal and gathered and reset and shared the stories of the day. And that's always what I've seen food as, is that conduit really for that sharing pattern. So again, I've tried to put that into this book as well, whether it is in the outdoors or whether it's just at home, making that lovely goulash with your child.
Yes.
It's a nice thing to do, really.
So you'll be thinking about book number 2 already, eh?
I'll be riding this one for a while, I think, so far. It's a lot of work in there as well. I mean, you really appreciate... I before I could put a book together. I mean, I knew... I was last-minute Larry at school, always. All essays and stuff, and it was quite okay. I mean, I was capable at school, but was certainly someone that needed that pressure of a deadline.
Yes.
When it comes to a book, there's 230-odd pages in there. You can't quite write all those in 12 hours overnight with a few cans of Red Bull. It's like the university days. So, and I think the fact it is all cooked out there, everything has been cooked from scratch on location, so it's all tried, tested and proven. And it was all over winter that was quite a
challenge.
It was an interesting... I mean, we didn't get those cold, crisp days that, you get the postcard winter days. It was absolutely blasting storms and rain all the time. So some of the dishes out there were really... You were questioning what really the point of this was and what you were doing with yourself.
Yeah.
But the fact it's all been there, if I can do it in those conditions, then you can certainly do it on a campsite in the summertime or even at warmer climes.
Summit specials, like it.
There we go. Get the puns in there.
Yeah.
Get the puns in. But I mean, obviously, it's been a year working that sort of way. Again, I think the first half of the year, it was kind of really the sole focus. So hopefully we'll just see how this one goes for a bit and how it's received. And again, low expectations from my side. I mean, the publishers listening, they've probably got slightly higher higher expectations. But
well, if you think about it, you've brought it out. You've brought it out at the back end. So a lot of people are wanting to do this outdoors. It won't be till spring when they really get back out there, and next summer when you might even see the PR train might have died down from this book by then. But then suddenly people start getting, let's get the Fell Foodie book out. Let's go and cook some meals up a fell or a mountain.
But books are very much like a Christmas thing, aren't they? People bring books out for Christmas to buy as gifts.
Yes.
Well, you've unravelled the publisher's plan now, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, it's a standard. It's a well-known formula. It's well-timed. It's a well-timed formula, but it works. That's why they do it.
I'm liking your metaphor, though. We're sowing the seeds now. We're letting them go through that hardy winter. Then in the spring, it pierce through that ground.
People will cook.
Green emergent leaves.
People will cook
Cookouts.
with this book. Yeah. That's the audio book. You just did the audio. His audio book of this is stuff that was sizzling and chopping and.
Oh, it's brilliant. I think he's after a job, this guy,
Just well done. Well done.
Oh, you could do ASMR recordings of you cooking.
Oh, yes.
Do you reckon so?
Yeah. I think that'd work.
They go very well on
ASMR
TikTok,
is-
don't they? The only thing that stopped me doing those so far is the fact that you usually get the constant background hiss of a gas stove, or if you have a little wood burner out there, which is generally only a seasonal thing, not in the dry season things, elevated from the ground, no
You
scorch
just need the right microphone. If you have
But
the
the gas stoves, it'll just be a constant before the sizzle, which might be a bit...
with
all
the
white
right
noise.
microphone, and you treat it afterwards, treat the audio afterwards, be fine.
You might just hear me maybe like sniffing in the
Breathing.
background or breathing. Yeah, get too close to
God,
the
his
mic.
breathing's so annoying.
Where is the best place to get the book? Do you have a direct link, a direct store, or just Amazon, wherever anyone prefers to get it?
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying saying this line now. All good bookstores.
Yes,
near
we
you.
will put a link to the whatever you want us to put it. We'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you. Well, again, I mean, it's been great seeing it, man. I've been popping a picture there, something in the local, on the local stores in Ambleside.
Yeah.
There, they've been stocking.
Oh, in
up.
fact, your publisher emailed me the link to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll do
yes,
that.
the publisher
I'll do
sell it
that.
directly. Again,
I'll do
it's
that.
on the major platforms. And again, always trying to support the locals where I can too. So I've just been in Bookends in Carlisle today, so they've stocked it kindly for me. Sam Reed's in Grasmere, for example, but further afield, of course, outside the lakes and further beyond, again, Amazon.
It's a bit like, well, the only
Waterstones,
comparison I've
yeah.
got is music, and like I'm hoping that obviously with digital, like I'm hoping books don't go away. But for me, it was like seeing a CD in the shop,
Oh, wow.
like your CD in the shop. But like that's kind of like gone. But I hope books never go. Like physical copies of books
Well, I
never
think it's
go.
still booming as a market, isn't it? It's one of
Yeah.
those that's kind of stood the test of time. You'd
Yeah.
expect it to have fell off a bit by now, but books have kind of, I think, have grown year on
Only
year.
because of like the digital side of things, like a Kindle type thing.
But even
you
then,
can't
it's not pushed
argue
off its
with the
pedestal.
convenience of like having 1,000 books on your Kindle versus having to carry
Mm.
all your books. But people like books; they like physically opening and reading the pages.
I think
which-
whether it's the tactile nature, again, that human sense that we
Yeah.
still need that touch time, maybe.
Yeah.
But cookbooks especially, I think they're just... You have to hold those.
You
obviously,
do.
Get them in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Get them sort of if it's hanging up in your kitchen or just
Yeah.
looking through, again, just looking at those pictures and seeing what you're cooking next, isn't it? It's just a nice thing to do.
I might get a copy myself, actually, but where possible, trying to avoid the corporate machine, and get it as direct from source as possible. That's
always.
just why I asked. So
Yeah, no, well, again, it's all, I mean, again, I think these days, again, I suppose, especially at the smaller levels, again, unfortunately, those corporate machines also are some of the main outlets on there. I mean, the SEO wise and stuff on there and how they push it forward for you.
Yeah.
Again, small publishers and small authors, I guess they kind of are nature of the beast in a way, but I completely agree with yourself. If you can get it locally where you can, or again, appreciate direct the publisher, you might pay a little bit more, but you tend to be rewarded.
There'll be a list
direct to
somewhere of all
source, don't
the
you?
all the stockists, won't there? They'll have a list.
There will be
somewhere
when
of
I get my website updated, probably. Yeah.
No, but the publisher will have a list, won't they? The publishers will know where it's.
Yeah, well, they'd have their own online shop as well, so I guess
Yeah.
they might also just want people
Yeah.
shopping for themselves. But
So where?
anyway, it's out there, so it's
It's
just-
out. This is out now.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm just enjoying it, seeing pop up in the wild again. Another picture there. When I was down at the NEC, I didn't even think they'd stocked the book on the bookshelf, but there I was walking up to the NEC.
Did you say you were somewhere in
bookshop.
Carlisle that had it?
Yeah, Bookends have got it in
Bookends
Carlisle.
got it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
Waterstones still there?
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
it.
So they will have it. So
Right.
they have ordered, and I popped in today, and I said to the lady at the desk,
Have you got my book? Do you know? Like this with your
Honestly.
space. Do you know who I am?
I tried as hard as possible not to use any of that phrasing. And I went up and I said,
what's the author's name?
No.
Me.
I told her it was me. I just said to her, I said, look, I appreciate this is very self-indulgent. I have not done this before, but I wanted to ask if you've stocked my book. So she asked my name and then said no. But no, but she said it was in the system, so they have ordered. It will be there soon, but it hasn't quite made it onto the Carlisle shelves yet. But hopefully it will do, because that is my home city. And but Bookends have stocked it as well. But I don't. No disrespect to Bookends, it's fantastic being a local store there, and I love that shop and the alcoves of bookcase. Walking down there, it's wonderful being there. But again, even though it's corporate machine, I don't know. There's something to say. Oh, I'm in there. I don't
Yeah,
know,
you just it's one of those milestones for you personally where you want to say
It
my book
does.
is in there. It's like
Well,
like someone saying
it's your product being presented to all the people that go in there,
Yeah.
and they go and look at books by, the greatest authors in the world, and you're on the same shelf alongside.
I wouldn't say on the same on the same level, but
It's
I'll
like-
take on the same shelf.
It's like I find out that people want to have their books was like New York Times bestseller. That doesn't actually mean much, but it just does. It's like social proof. If you can say New York Times bestseller, that's one box you've ticked to sort of a bit of proof that your book's pretty good. But it doesn't actually mean much. It's just become a standard now.
I appreciate both your confidence in myself for this, but I'm not sure I'll be reaching those levels. I don't think I'll be quoting philosophical natures on my book either. But
well, you see, you talk about two things: cooking and mental health. You've done a book on one.
Yeah.
You haven't done a book on the other.
They'll be throwing up my quotes alongside Aristotle and Gandhi after this.
I hope we're not accidentally poking at things that he's actually got in the pipeline.
No, you're trying to catch me out now, aren't you? I think you've been spying.
Only because it happened last time.
You've been burned by that Mary Berry piece, haven't you?
This podcast's like an idea machine.
Yes.
We should chill.
We're like a brainstorm.
All patented and trademarked, everyone listening. No, there's nothing actually. There's nothing under wraps at the moment. So again,
I was going to say was, so you took 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Where did you
go? Spain. I was in.
Cool.
So I went over there.
Nice relaxing holiday.
It was lovely. Yeah.
Just in time for this madness of this book to come out.
It was. I know exactly.
So what is the PR plan for the next few months as far as this book goes? What have you got?
Well, as with most things, I'm kind of learning as we go because it's my debut publication. I've not published a book before. The whole idea of perhaps putting a house deposit down whilst getting a book deal, I've realised isn't the true reality of this. That's no slight on the publisher. That's just, again, perhaps, just understanding this world slightly a lot more.
Yeah.
But again, there's still plenty of festivals. I mean, it tends to die down slightly for me this time of year.
Right.
But I've only had one winter before doing this full time. So again, I'm not gauging on a lot of past. But last week was particularly busy. Again, I had a full week down there. I was talking to Barclays Bank at one point, which was, again...
What was all that about?
Just a corporate talk. I was speaking about my journey. Then I was down at the motorhome show that you mentioned for 3 days. And then on the Friday, I was away for another talk down there as well. So ended up being a really, really busy week in the end. So hopefully it
But have you and your publisher sort of sat down and gone like a bit of a plan for what to do now that the book's out? You've got a bit of a circuit of things that you're doing and to promote it?
I think it just goes hand in hand with what I already do, I think, because I'm already kind of...
No, you've just got something extra to take with you and say...
Well, that's it. I mean, people have long been asking, sort of, have you got a book? And I say, oh, no, maybe one day. And never really... I made any plans for it. I hadn't been writing one. I literally just started writing this when it came in, so I hadn't got all the manuscripts ready to hand in. But now you can go, I have actually now, yes.
So you'll be taking these with you wherever you go?
So so the car's full at the moment, yeah.
Opening your van. Here we go.
That's it, yeah. Or the trench coat, maybe.
Yeah.
No, it's... But yeah, so I'm looking forward to now. I've got Kendal Mountain Festival's coming back up again, one of the biggest outdoor shows in there, which is always sounds bizarre.
When is that?
That's 16th of November for the weekend, 16th. So
nice.
Again, it's always bizarre.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's just funny growing around here, isn't it? Because you think Kendal. Yeah. Little tiny little market town.
Well, it's like Kendal Calling, isn't it? Started there.
Yeah.
And it outgrew it.
It's starting to get on the map now, isn't it, Kendal? I guess maybe I've given it a bad name. It's not just mint cake these days. No. But looking forward to that because that just seems to be a big sort of community. I mean, the joke saying it's the down jacket convention because everyone comes out for the day of the outdoors. But got a few talks there as well, so that'll be very much sort of in amongst what I feels like my tribe really in the outdoor side of things. But likewise, touring around doing various other bits. But otherwise, we'll see. Hopefully, some nice winter hiking as well.
Yeah.
Over the quieter period, and again, just some. Yeah, I suppose just soaking in really the fact that I've got a book out because again the work's gone into this over the last year. So
it needs to be celebrated.
Again that work-life balance. Maybe put my feet up, maybe and slightly. Maybe get back to the gym a bit more as well and start fitting in these shirts a bit better.
Well, this is work-life balance. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Making time. Sometimes you're going to have to stop. Maybe say no to some things. To give yourself some time.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. It's always nice to get, isn't it? I mean, there's some things. Some don't get me wrong. Some things, but no, it's just wonderful to have these opportunities. Really, and again, even sort of coming back on here and speaking again, I very much appreciate both your time, and it's just, again, a journey I would never have expected to be on, and just having things come to fruition like this is something I'm just keep soaking in and just allowing to take its path. So trying to be quite present in it, trying not to be too sort of,
just go with the flow,
flippant and go right on to the next thing, but also not being like, look what I've done. It's kind of just, well, this is it, isn't it? It's kind of trying to reflect more on literally where you were. Because, 7 years back, I'm literally picking my head up off the bar. I'm pissed as a fart falling down in the street every night. And then now you're looking at your book on the shelf. It's just, it's
or on TV.
It is bonkers. And we'll see where it goes. Who knows? But
have you signed many of these then? I'm guessing you've signed quite a few. Do you have to sign a
few
in advance?
I've not got any writer's cramp yet, but it's...
There's a picture of you signing them.
There is some miss. That was at the publishers, yes. So all the pre-orders from the publisher were all signed going out. And I must apologise to a few friends and family members who expected a personalised message, but when you were sat there with sort of a fair few copies and
that's a big pile of books.
You couldn't do 2 minutes. That was great. So them all going out, and again at all the shows, people are asking. Again, it's quite a bizarre thing. Yeah. The thing is, I've always had a crap signature.
Have you had to work on that?
Well, I haven't really, because I remember my mum and my dad have both got really good signatures.
But the thing is, now you got that famous, people are wanting you be signing things as Fell Foodie, not Harrison Ward. You are Fell Foodie.
Well, like the footballers do, where they put the shirt number next to the name and the signature.
This is your brand, right
I did
there.
think maybe I could just put FF as a cop out, maybe as a silent FF. But I don't know, I've never really had. I always admire people who have very good signatures. I think it's quite a nice, classy thing to sort of be there. So
when you see some of the bands in there, the
same
big
every
band,
time as well.
They just do it that many times. It's just.
Mine's always been an absolute squiggle. I used to practice it, so I didn't really know what to do. So I've just kind of I just do it myself. But likewise, I've not signed the real signature because there's also a lot of identity fraud now around. So as well, just anyone out there, just be careful of these things. You don't put all your bank details, signatures. You never know who's watching. No.
Look at this smile here.
Aside for.
Look how happy he is there.
Aside for, but it's.
Look at that. Where are we at? Climb a shop.
But it's just, again, it's like, well, why did you put my name in your book? It's like, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Going, will you sign this? And you go, well, and it might, you can't sell it on after that, if you want to sell it on afterwards. I sign it. But no, it's wonderful to have that support.
Like shops like that, outdoor shops selling your book, that's another thing I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, so hopefully some of the bigger brands are going to stop. And I've got some quite good relationships with the likes of Alkit and Go Outdoors and Blacks, and hopefully they'll be stocking it as well soon. And again, we'll see if any of the supermarkets maybe take it on and stuff. And although it's in that niche little sector, it's
certainly now at gift buying time. This is the prime time for people to be buying that as a gift.
Well, hopefully so. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to compile something. It's nice to have something that you can't take away from you in a way, can you? Again, you've wrote something now. It's been published, and that in itself is just quite a nice bucket list moment. I guess really, it's.
What is your signature?
I'm not going to say.
Oh yeah.
Are you laughing at that?
It's
just opened my signature and just laughed openly at my signature. So that obviously tells you how impressive it is.
It needs work. Well, come back next time he's on. It'll be like some elaborate. It'll be a fancy just H.
You'll have your own fountain pen.
I might just have
just a stamp.
A stamp, I was going to say. Yeah, I'll probably get an ink stamp probably by then. But no, again, I'm not going to say there was an English teacher who said, I never thought you could do this because it wasn't like that sort of level. It's not kind of, pushing it back in her face, but. It's just a very nice opportunity to have to be able to put it together and do what you like, and the fact that other people share that passion really with it. And of course there is some nice nods to sort of the homeland there as well, sort of Cumbrian about sort of some artists and producers and stuff, and little stories and anecdotes. I mean, they were probably the hardest bit to do, the anecdotes really. I mean, the recipe is one thing, but trying to find a nice little sharp snippet or memory to go with each recipe was probably
Well, it's just you've been doing this for quite a while now, so you've obviously built up a bit of a repertoire of things to talk about.
They've cleared me out now, I think that's
yeah. You've
the next book will only have about 4 recipes in it, but this one's got about 85, I think so.
That's pretty good. In brackets, foodie. Now slang.
Well, I thought that was important because, again, you mentioned last time I was on about your international audience you have, from all around the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think the term "fell foodie," people often think, "What is he fell over? What's going on?" But no, obviously here we tend to call the hills and the mountains
specific
fell,
to Northern and Scotland as well.
Yeah, it's Scandinavian origin. So it's just trying to explain that a bit, I suppose, and unraveling the.
That's good. That's a great idea to do all that at the beginning.
Is this book sort of intended for international audiences as well? Was that kind of the plan from the start?
Because there are plenty of countries with mountain landscapes like that.
Well, that's it. So. Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, for now, I'd just be very happy if it went well in the UK, but
it will. Don't worry.
We'll see.
It's my thoughts are mainly because they use different measurements, and I only think of this is because somebody gave me an air fryer cookbook, and I thought, that's what a great idea because I've got an air fryer now, and I got it. Everything was in Fahrenheit and cups. Really annoyed me.
Well, I think if you turn to page maybe 26 or 28, there'll be the measurements and conversions page in there. So we've got all this in here.
Nothing gets past you.
And the mystery of the American cups is all explained. Because you never know, do you? You always think if you get your Sports Direct mug out, is that going to count as a cup? Or
is it like
I'm not sure. I haven't got that page number correct, by the way, but it's in the earlier section.
This dish requires 1 cup of onions, but onions don't come in cups; they come in onions.
Yeah,
do's and don'ts.
Get sent to the shop for the tartan paint. Can I have 1 cup of onions, please?
Do park responsibly, of course. Yes.
Well,
do check the weather. Absolutely check the weather. That's one thing that has kind of annoyed me. Obviously, I'm not from here. I'm from Newcastle originally, but the way people just have disregard for, or they don't even have any education about what's required when you go up a fell. Like half the time the air ambulance is needed is because someone hasn't been prepared for what they were doing. So that's kind of things like this are very important. More education and information about basic safety.
Well, that's how I see it. Again, I don't like to belittle these sort of things at all because I think sometimes people can get caught out, and even those who've got all the equipment can get caught out. And sometimes, again, we have to check that privilege of where we've come from, that perhaps they may have come for the first time and they've just gone up. And so, again, some of the work I've been doing recently with some inner city schools, had taken those out on the hilltop and trying to explain more about perhaps the countryside code and stuff and how we do this and why we do it. It's very important because I think it does come back to education half the time.
Yeah.
So having that in there, it's not belittling someone, it's not just being snide, it's not being there looking down on someone who's trying the outdoors for the first time. It's trying to guide and
It's
just
like
say,
it's this basically knowledge and experience. This isn't it?
And they're not rules as such in there.
No.
They're just sort of things that that are done way to go about, and you can get caught out. So trying to have those backups with you when you're out and about, trying to again look for the next person when you are parking, whether it is the ambulances that are trying to get down those narrow lanes afterwards, or whether it's heading up the hillside, in your jeans and a jumper, and then all of a sudden you get a downpour and you're soaking and you're freezing on the tops. It's all bits out there that ultimately, really, cooking on those environments is probably the last point of doing it. If it's really bad conditions, you wouldn't even be attempting that sort of stuff. You'd be looking at your own safety first. So, but I think it's important to pass those on as well.
Is there an element of disclaimer in there? Like if somebody goes up and burns themselves on a pan, they can turn around and say, "This book made me do it. It's this guy's fault."
You're back on the international sales market now. Maybe the American market might say that, but
Yeah, one of those really fast disclaimers where you can't really understand what they're saying. They talk so fast.
No, I don't know. Well, again, we put a lot of allergens in there as well for this one. You don't often see a lot of cookbooks, but I felt we're going down that sort of path now in the world, aren't we? That
it's
everyone's always looking out for various bits. And though you have the ingredients all written out, sometimes people don't maybe know what's in. It's not all ingredients are wrote down what's in that particular ingredient. If it's already made up, for example, you add in like a paste or something to say what's in there. So I've tried to think about all that as well. But likewise, there is a bit at the start that says, look, I've tried to do all this, but in the event there is perhaps a mistake and that sort of stuff, you have to almost say that because I can't. Yeah, you just trusting what I've wrote, aren't you? Otherwise, you're putting my life in your hands.
Are there notations of like vegan and gluten-free meals in there as well? Has that been a consideration in the book?
It has been, yeah. So I think I did total it up at one point. I think half the book is vegetarian.
Oh, right.
I think about 1/3 is vegan, I think, of the book. So in there. Gluten-free, I haven't done anything specifically gluten-free, but there are, of course, easy substitutes to make in there, and that has been addressed throughout it. So again, I think it's often when I do demonstrations too, I generally cook a vegan dish with vegetarian sides now. So I might do perhaps like a nice black bean chili, and I'll have like cheese to add on the side, but it's on the side.
So it's optional.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I'll always tend to cook vegan. I eat meat myself,
but
I tend to try and cater for everybody at these big events by doing that.
I like the very last bit, leave no trace.
Well, that's, I think,
Probably the most important.
Yeah, again, I've got a nice big double spread at the back saying that again, just repeating that message, because that really covers all. I think it's, you shouldn't be leaving footprints out there.
We all have a bit of a responsibility if we're out there doing stuff like this, don't we?
Well, and likewise, it's been a very healing place for me to be out there, and I wouldn't want somebody else to go there and have a very different experience by turning up and
I like pork pies.
I've just come across his pork pie. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a little snack section at the back. So we've got breakfast in there, we've got some one-pot dishes, we've got some sandwiches to take out, we've got the Summit Special section that you mentioned that is more pan-juggly recipes. Then I've got desserts, that was probably the hardest section, and then some snacks that are stuff that you make at home first to then take out with you. So trying to think about all little things in there, just trying to cater around outdoor activities, really.
Well done. This is awesome.
He's very supportive, is Marc, and he has been all throughout this summer.
I am.
So it's
you are a formidable man who's done great things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And you're making me hungry with your book. No, but yeah. So you mentioned a girlfriend who have love life.
Yeah.
Don't think that was the case last time you were here.
It wasn't actually. No, so it's coming up 2 years. 2 years with Laura.
She saw him with Mary Berry. It's like, he's the man for me.
That's right. A man that cooks.
Yes.
Yeah, it was quite funny really because she actually we went to school together. So we went to secondary school together. She was the year below me at school, and we became quite estranged, I guess, through the last few years. So all the sort of the life I've led in between is kind of, quite a mystery really. I wasn't seen from her side. So she knows me from school.
Yeah.
And then one of her best friends, one of my best friends, have been together since sixth form. And they got married a couple of years ago. And we basically met again at the wedding.
Ah, cool.
So it's gone from there. So kind of it skipped out that little gap in between. So
Right.
I kind of lived my life and lived that sort of...
So she probably just listened to a
dark,
lot of
shady-
podcasts to cost up. What's he been up to? Oh, right. I
I'd
got up
get
now.
sick of it when you hear me talk. But that's it. The dark, shady years that went on in York, and then come back out, and you've emerged back and into this, whatever this figure is now. But so
This figure is happy.
Thank you, bud. It is content. It absolutely is content. It's very much, in a slightly, I didn't obviously envision this path, but still very much becoming sort of the person that you feel you are, wholeheartedly, really. So, and just honest, I guess. I mean, just honest
Yeah.
in my path, honest in my journey. Not again. Perhaps there should be a bit more marketing involved in it, being more sort of flippant or backing myself or being knocking on the door and going, I can do this job.
So
But
does
it's not me.
Does she come to you with some of the events then?
She does, yeah. She's attended quite a few with me, so I've both enjoyed some nice activities there. I suppose I've enjoyed some of the nice music at some of these festivals and events, but also lent me a hand on quite a few as well, because I suppose there can be quite a bit now, sort of carting things around. Now I've got to carry all these books with me as well. I mean, at one point carting all the pots
Feel like
and pans
a
and
trolley.
all the compostable containers to give all the samples out with.
They hear you before they see you.
I know.
Here he comes.
It's already a joke about how much I carry up the hills. But you see me at the events, I've probably got like 2 holders over my shoulders and wheeling some case.
It's one of those ones where someone puts one item too many in your backpack.
It's not happened yet. I think part Sherpa. And sort of,
But it's going well with you in your
it's
love
going
life.
grand, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, it's going grand. Yeah,
Well,
so
yes.
it's back up to the old, back up near sort of Brampton way, where I'm from. So I'm still in Ambleside myself, and I'm.
You
sort
say
of
you
back
put a
up and
deposit on
down.
a house down as well?
No, it's a joke.
Oh right, I thought you
No,
were
I
actually being
said-
serious.
No, I said getting the book deal was not quite a house deposit that I expected from the old book deal, but perhaps if you're slightly more well known, maybe a Jamie Oliver, maybe I'm sure you can get a deposit for a book deal. But no, still very much rented in Ambleside.
One day you'll get there.
Well, we'll see. They keep pushing the boundaries, don't they? They keep pushing the prices up. So
They do.
it feels like maybe the Fell Foodie will be outside the Fells.
If you want to live in like Keswick or Ambleside, you're paying for the location, aren't you? That's why that's the premium on the price there for the houses.
Well, and the competition of it now as well. I think at one point, sort of, you think about when I was sort of growing up in this area, it was kind of a joke. The holiday homes were in the papers in the lakes, and you'd be like, "Why do you want to live there?"
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like everyone wants to live there. So it's
Now,
supply and demand, I
noticed
guess.
A lot of the housing companies are giving local resident discounts because they want local people to buy local houses, so people from the outside don't buy them and then make them into holiday homes. Which is, you need some of that, but I think it's getting a bit too much.
Well, I'd be sceptical whether that's kind developers or whether that's the council sort of pushing
Well, they're
down.
probably saying
on
you
them
have to do this,
Yeah,
but-
exactly, because it's already gone a bit too far.
Whichever way it is, it's happening a lot more. So
I mean, unfortunately, there is a lot of them. The communities have been sort of dissolved in sort of the areas, and it's the one thing that I don't think we should belittle. Private landlord ownership or even sort of Airbnbs, because everyone should have that opportunity. And a lot of the Airbnbs are fantastic to stay in,
yeah.
but there is a finite point where I suppose there has to be a quota of what becomes a private let, what becomes an Airbnb, and what becomes a house for someone
Yes.
working in the local environment.
Yeah.
And when we sort of dissolve that too far, the percentage in the quota isn't quite accurate, then of course
Yeah.
we then struggle to maybe have the staff in the hotels, in the restaurants, or we struggle to have the schools open. And it's a fine line, and perhaps one that's maybe already gone a little bit too far. And if we can come back to the other side, we'll see. But I'd imagine that's probably why the developers are getting told to have more
they
local
probably-
ownership.
Yeah, they'll be gun to the head saying, you must offer this.
Well, there used to be a local occupancy clause as well in the area where
They
even
did.
from
And
Carlisle.
Keswick had a lot of that.
Yeah, a lot of the old terrace houses in there had them.
I think it was their parents or something. Their parents had either died or gone to a home, but they couldn't sell the house. They couldn't,
Yeah.
even though they weren't classed as local. They couldn't buy it because they lived in Penrith. They wasn't
Yeah,
classed as
it wasn't
local.
close as
So they were
that,
just sort of
wasn't it?
stuck with this house.
A friend of mine's dad was from Carlisle sort of when he's retired now, tried to buy a house in Keswick. I think it took them a long, long time.
Yeah.
Even though he'd lived in Carlisle 40 years, to still claim local occupancy. But I suppose the other side of that is you can't blame people that have had those homes that then suddenly sell them at the inflated prices to someone that wants to move to the area, because when that paycheck comes through the door, you're probably not going to go, hang on a minute, I'll sell to the local guy for a lot less. Because it's going to be a very difficult decision. So there's a moral side to it, I guess, isn't there? But it's one of those that, unfortunately, has perhaps gone a little bit sort of too far on that side. But again, you also appreciate the beauty of these areas. And it's not just the Lake District, of course. This is Cornwall, this is Wales, this is Scotland. I'm sure this is other places internationally as well. It's kind of just, people want to live in desirable areas, and those who've got the cash flow to do so, who's to say they can't?
They dictate
No one
the
is. It's
market.
not,
I've noticed. I made loads of notes to talk to you today. One thing I've made notes of, but I haven't elaborated on. I don't know why. Was the Blue Earth Summit.
Okay.
So I obviously had a thought to talk to you about that, but it was a pretty big deal. What did you? Was it pretty cool?
It was nice. My second year there, at the Blue Earth Summit. So it's basically a big conference for sustainability down in Bristol. So it's put together talking about how businesses can be a lot greener. Lots of businesses that are trying to start up and get investment to be much more eco-friendly and have sort of those credentials.
Find his when he was there. When was it?
So it was literally last week. So I think it's on my LinkedIn actually. I don't think it's on my Instagram.
LinkedIn.
Again, you see, I've not got my Instagram up to date with this one just yet.
So is this under your real name?
It will be. It
LinkedIn,
will be
yeah.
actually. Yeah, it will be. See,
You should just log in,
all my platforms now. But in the second year I've been there, so again, I do wonder again how the outdoor cooking comes into play.
Third one down.
We were talking slightly about, that's me, talking about how I suppose the outdoors has helped me on a human sustainability aspect, I suppose, on the wellness side of things. And of course, bringing sort of the cooking into play, talking about I suppose, food miles, seasonality of product, and that stuff in there, and almost the connection again with what we're eating. So, again, great to be back talking there. Some fantastic talks on through the day. Some amazing big speakers in there. I think you mentioned Deborah Meadham was there before.
Yeah.
David Olasaga was there as well. Kemi Nazarian was one of the hosts. Some fantastic speakers, and again, all with quite a purposeful
I don't really know where
engagement.
to start.
Well, it's exactly that. I mean, literally, I think I've been on the road since last Thursday, so I've only been back in the Cumbria since maybe yesterday, and then we're back in the studio.
I'm interested to see why was this a LinkedIn worthy post but not elsewhere?
I've probably just not got around to put it on yet, but I've
I
probably
thought
just,
there was like some sort of reason behind it.
no,
That's maybe right. That's maybe why I made a note of it.
if you want the real sort of the thought path of this, it's probably because Instagram I try to post generally between like 8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Why?
Because it tends to be sort of the best time to sort of post, whether you post in the day when everyone's working,
Okay,
things
right,
can
yeah,
maybe dive and disappear.
Yeah.
Well, LinkedIn's the opposite. It's very much a Monday to Friday crowd, 9 to 5.
Work people are on it, aren't they?
Exactly. And often by the time it gets to maybe 8, 9 at night, I've usually forgotten to post. So then the cycle rolls on, and all of a sudden it was meant to post on Monday, and it might be Friday, and I've still not done anything.
Is he still?
Is this branded, or is this just a sticker?
This happened last time.
Is it a sticker?
It wasn't. It was like an empty like hair gel.
He's
container.
got it. He's got it.
that's
It's an
right.
old hair gel pot. That's right.
But I was going to ask you, what would it be? If it was his, what was in it? What would be in it? What's he selling? What product would he have?
Grated cheese.
Great cheese. Interesting.
Fell Foodie's cheese. I was trying to think. Like, if
Fell Foodie's
he
cheese.
did have some sort of product in a tub. What would it be?
I know it looks more like some sort of illicit white powder in that container, doesn't it? To be fair, I'm not smuggling that one through any
Sugar.
doors.
Sugar.
Sugar. It is
Yes,
sugar.
sugar,
It is
yeah, you go.
Yeah, but,
That's good. That's a good idea. That to put your
well,
own.
they're just nice little screw top lids, and again,
Yeah.
I suppose it was a very green environmental conference, and there I am reusing and
Reusing,
recycling.
yeah,
so
yeah,
look
absolutely,
at me. I was patting
absolutely.
myself on the back before I walked in, really, with that sort of that thinking. But no, they've just always been. And basically, I got annoyed with people saying, "Am I putting hair gel in my food?" Because I used to have the hair gel
Yeah.
logo on, so I just
I
put
think
my own.
that came up last time.
I put my own logo on the top, didn't I? But it always gets a few giggles. That's one of my
But
one of my dad jokes I always bring up at the talks.
But I remember the Blue Earth Summit is obviously it's one of the big ones, but it's all about sustainability and being eco-friendly, and that's a cool picture.
Yeah, so this was the third day at an amazing place. It's the Wave project, well, just the Waves are in Bristol. So it's an artificial basically wave pool. So
Yeah.
so you can get the surfers learn to surf in there, inland, of course. And again, having that as a backdrop for the cooking side of things is just quite
Very picturesque.
just quite a bizarre, unusual spot to cooking at too. And again, I was trying to show my support for the Save Windermere campaign that's been going on recently as well, about sort of the sewage runoff into the lake
Yeah,
in
so
here
let's
as
talk
well.
about that then. So what's the crux behind that? What's going on?
Yeah, well, you should get Matt on the podcast, really. You should get him
Who's
on one
that?
day. Matt Staniak. So he's the guy who's basically running, or a zoologist who's now fully funded to go and run this programme. So he's been doing all the pressure on United Utilities. He's been going down to Downing Street all about this, and he's set up the whole campaign for Save Windermere. He's a Windermere lad initially, and obviously he'd speak about this a lot better than I would. But essentially the issue, of course, is seeing a lot more blue-green algae in the lakes and various bits now from sort of, I think it's higher phosphate levels in the lake, which is generally caused by sewage runoff, which they say is usually through storms, but has also been happening a lot when there hasn't been storm drains opening. So it's kind of why is
The
that
last
happening?
few years, it's been a lot more prominent, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just Windermere, of course. We're seeing all this around in the rivers, seeing this in the sea. The Surface Against Sewage campaign spoke a lot about this again. I've got a friend of mine who runs a lot of the water testing down in Wales too, and seeing all these bits in again, the microplastics that are coming in. There is a lot of agriculture around here as well too, so it's not all fully blamed on the sewage side of things.
It's
But
when
certainly,
it's hot as well. It's hot weather, like sunshine.
well, I think that tends to create more of the algae in there.
Accelerate it,
Yes,
yeah,
I mean, please excuse me, I'm not the scientist behind this sort of stuff, but when I listen to Matt speak about this sort of stuff, I very much have my roots behind the cause. I think so, I think this has even been happening. Been talking Tarney, where I grew up, I always had a big problem with blue-green algae, and again, back then you always just saw
poisonous
it
to
as
animals, isn't it?
yeah, dogs generally can really you
Yeah.
can kill dogs, I believe. So he's
Yeah.
always told not to be going there at all. It can be give humans a really bad stomach upset.
That's
You
what
look
I'm
back
reading
on
your book.
it is, yeah.
Someone spotted reading his book.
They always had a problem growing up there, and you always wondered, is it just natural? Is it just what's causing it? They're going, it's the unseasonably hot weather, and of course there is an element of climate change to that as well.
Yeah.
But it's now recently been released that there's been sewage runoff into there for the last 20 years. So you're thinking, has that whole
I'm
story...
never surprised when I hear things like that.
Yeah,
'cause
have they been pulling the wool over our eyes that whole time about that? Again, there's a lot of agriculture around there too, so there will be some
Runoff.
agricultural runoff
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But what's the aim here? So ultimately, I think it's just the concept of the fact that it's the largest freshwater lake in England, and we're literally putting our shit in it. It's just hard to comprehend. And I think there was some great support from the comedians, Lee Mack, Steve Coogan, Paul Whitehouse. They all came down to Windermere for the big rally about this sort of stuff, raising the awareness about what's going on. And I forget which one it was now. I think it was maybe Lee Mack. Said about basically it's the equivalent of someone knocking on your door. You've got a paddling pool in the garden, and they run through your house, drop the trousers, and take a shit in your paddling pool. Right? And then he jumps over the fence, and you go, "What the hell's gone on there? What's happened?" And then he goes next door, does the same to your neighbour, and shits in his paddling pool, and goes over the next fence. And then your neighbour comes to you and says, "Did that guy just have a crap in your paddling pool?" He says, "Yeah, he did. I don't know what's going on." So he calls the police, and the police come round. They tell him what's happened. He says, "Oh yes, he's allowed to do that." But he says he's going to do it less often from now on. And it's the equivalent of what's going on, really. It's bonkers. If the aliens came down from space now and sort of said, "Oh, this is a beautiful area," oh yeah, that's where we throw our sewage.
But this is happening, yeah.
It's just crazy.
Why?
And there's a case study, I think it's Lake Annecy in is it France? Lake Annecy, I think, that had a similar problem like this in the 70s, and it's been used as sort of the case study for this, where they input a lot of sort of freshwater levels into there. They changed what they were doing to that lake, and now it's one of the cleanest waters in Europe now. So this problem can be reversed.
Yeah.
And again, we live in such, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site where we are now here.
Yes,
and of course, it's
absolutely.
a big reason for
Yeah,
why
yeah.
people come to the area. So we need to protect these environments, what we're in. And there are levels, of course, in terms of Victorian infrastructure. Of course, America doesn't quite sustain the levels of tourism we're getting. There's a whole different conversation about over-tourism, I suppose, on those sides of things too. And there's also bits, again, who's utilising the lake now for what purposes. But I mean, ultimately, if the aim is cleaner natural water sources, who really can't get behind that?
Exactly.
So that's just why I try and throw my hat behind it. But
that's cool.
Again, you should get Matt to speak about this, because I do not do it justice. And please forgive me if I've bastardised any terms or forgotten bits or said the wrong words there. But Matt is definitely your man to get to.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Just might do that.
I'll give you his details.
Oh, your dad was there.
He was actually, yeah. So he lives down in Devon, my dad. So being in Bristol, not too far away. So he actually attended this demo for
cool.
the first time.
What did he make of it?
So grand. I think he was loving it.
Had he seen you do your stuff before?
That was first time. First time
cool.
he come out, yeah. So he came to see me. So he tried to come last year to the Way, but I think he was put the Blue Summit, but he was put off by the ticket prices are quite extremely high, because they tend to be aimed at sort of investors and
So you got him in this
business
time.
CEOs. But in reality, most people just get free tickets sent to them. They just ask if it's press tickets or stuff. So it really did the same for this one and came to see me down there. So it was great to have him there.
That's awesome.
I think he spent the whole 45 minutes just filming on his phone, really. But again, these teenagers, eh?
Young people and their phones.
I know, terrible.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything? We need a segment. We need a name for this segment where show and tell. What's in your bag? I'm going to call it "What's in Your Bag" until someone comes up with a better title.
I'm too tired to come up with anything.
He is tired.
Yeah.
What's in your bag, Harrison Ward?
What's in my bag?
Yeah. What's you brought? What story?
What's in your
Anything
pan?
to talk about?
Oh, this is the story. I see. So, what's in my bag? What's in my head? What have I? It's like a bit like the Room 101 type stuff, isn't it? Almost a bit similar to that, isn't it?
What do you want to be?
What's ground my gears this week?
Anything,
With Marc Farquhar. I think I was going to talk about Sycamore Gap. I think I was going to talk about.
Yes. Did you know about this?
Yeah, I've heard about
Let's Google that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, of course, something that.
What really hit home for me was some of the pictures that have been taken over the years with it. If anyone doesn't know what this is, it's a section of Hadrian's Wall, which is a wall that goes along what was the border back in the day between England and Scotland. But
go away.
One of the most iconic. You'll have to look at the video, audio listeners.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic sections of it has one sycamore tree right in the middle of a dip, and someone's cut it down in the middle of the night.
It was just baffling, wasn't it? I mean, again, I don't know if you've seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, wasn't it? With Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. But they have a famous scene where they come down the hill at this point. It was a really famous scene in the film. And again, I'm not sure about you, Mark, of course you've been more sort of Northumbrian, but it just feels like it's just a part of what we've grown up with. It's really...
I was furious when I saw that.
I heard the news when I was in Spain, and a friend of mine messaged me and said, someone's cut down Sycamore Gap. And I just went, yeah, what? And obviously you search on Google, and you think, someone's actually cut down Sycamore Gap. And again, just baffling. A bit like we were just saying before about throwing our runoff into the lakes. It's kind of, you're going, why?
Why would somebody do that?
What possible
I did hear
reason
that
can you have for this?
A 16-year-old got arrested. I'm like, a 16-year-old has not done that alone.
Well, did you see the quality of the cut?
Yeah, it's
the minute it was a 16-year-old.
Apparently, I also heard that it was a disgruntled former employee.
Well, see, this is the story I've been hearing about. Potentially, there's someone with a holiday cottage nearby, or a holiday sort of let few different cabins, who has let someone go, and this is one of the main reasons why people come and stay there. And a disgruntled ex-employee has gone and chopped down their moneymaker in a way. But not only that, he's chopped down somewhere that's has huge sort of sentimental value for many people, where they've scattered ashes, where they've got engaged.
How old does it say? How old that is?
Where
it's
almost
old.
I think it's about 300 years old.
Absolutely, and again, just that image of something growing in such a difficult environment, that one little seedling growing up and standing tall, and what that symbolises, and again, it just feels like an iconic landmark of Northern England in a way.
Yeah.
Just getting lost, and obviously being further away from it when I was abroad when it happened, I don't think I've seen. I mean, obviously we've got some pretty atrocious things going on in the world right now.
Yeah, we are.
But I don't think I've seen, and perhaps there's two conversations to this, but online it seemed to me all the issues we've seen over recent years on social media and the campaigns that have gone with certain things and the support that people show, this Sycamore Gap getting felled seemed to have the most uniformity of people almost in grief that I've seen on social media.
Disbelief, just utter, yeah.
And of course, I mean, I'm not comparing trees to human lives in this way at all, because
that's kind of the way people reacted, though, wasn't it?
But I mean, I think things that are going on in the world now, you'd expect more outrage with that than you would do with a tree getting felled. But it seemed, it really brought a lot of people together. What had gone on, and again, you just there was someone who said to me as well that perhaps it was a metaphor or even a protest about, I think it was Rosebank, which was the oil field that had just been approved. Yeah. Again, another one of the backdoor boogie deals.
Trees have no legal status. Calls rise for stronger protection in the UK against felling. What can you do? You can't protect all the trees. They're there alone.
Well, not in the middle of the night. Yeah, exactly. Do you have an individual, policeman just on every single tree? But again, it was one of those sort of backdoor deal with the government, wasn't it, of getting this oil field approved up in Scotland. And I wonder whether this was maybe an environmental process. Saying
that was my first thought.
We've cut a tree down because this is what we're doing to nature, whilst we're doing more oil drilling, and pushing 2030 back and then drilling more oil. But it doesn't sound like it is that reason.
No.
But I think, it's just baffling because, of course, I think a lot of us have really appreciated nature a lot more in recent years because it's one of the few things that we had to appreciate, maybe during
heritage, isn't it? History.
And it just almost seems you can't make an argument for why you do something like that.
I've still not heard any valid explanations or what's happened in the investigations of the people who got arrested. Just it's all kind of gone quiet.
But I also agree with the side of the fact that again, it's not like someone's been murdered.
No, but it also almost feels like if they have.
There's obviously a lot more atrocities that are worth a lot more in human casualties than a tree is. But I think it just really brought together quite a lot of sentiment to a lot of people and the fact of it. And I think we do see every now and again, like you mentioned before, with some of those do's and don'ts I was talking about, certain activities you see in the outdoors that perhaps there's graffiti or someone's littered or they left a barbecue on the ground, left a scorch mark. And
what you said, don't leave a trace.
Yeah, it's all little things that do rile us up when we're maybe from the area, when we are outdoor appreciators. But then something like this, there's other bits you can come back down to education and stuff, and you can go,
or lack thereof.
Or again, someone might have had the barbecue down and innocently, thought they could pack it away and it was a bit hot to pick up. There are, not trying to defend those choices, but there are perhaps reasonings for that. Or again, you might find a Lion Bar wrapper in the car park, but you might have just blown out someone's pocket.
Yeah,
you might not physically thrown it out.
But every year we see images of mess that's been left when people have been camping. Like I know Haweswater gets it a lot. People camping around there and just leaving a right.
There is a lot more. There is a lot more. There's a lot more people coming to the area too. But I also think we're still not used to sort of seeing that sort of thing. So I think it's still very much a minority that it's happening with. It's not a lot of people doing this. It's just a few people doing this, but we see it more often.
Yeah.
Therefore, we think it's more of a problem.
But everything's so instant now, isn't it? Anything happens, it's everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, there's some great people. I by myself have been out sometimes and carted off this stuff down from the lakeside and stuff and carried it all down again that someone's left out there. And it
20 years ago, that would have been someone's cut the gap down like a week later in the paper. Like they just wouldn't. That's how they would have found out about it.
Isn't that bizarre? But all that sort of stuff we're saying there, you're leaving a tent or leaving a scorch mark. There seems a little bit of a, there's something's gone wrong at that level. But you can't say at this point that
no, that's deliberate. That's premeditated.
Someone sneezed and set off the chainsaw and accidentally fell through Sycamore Gap and gone,
whoops,
that was an accident.
I've accidentally cut right perfectly through the middle.
It's just blatant vandalism, isn't it, of nature?
That's an expert cut.
It almost feels worse than graffitiing your name on the side of a train bridge or something.
It does.
Very strange, but there were some great stories, wasn't there? People, I think there's a local sawmill who tried to say they'd do the work for free and they'd do the felling for free to maybe make it into a sculpture. And again, they've spoke to the guy who, I forget his name actually, maybe you can Google him, but the guy who did the Angel of the North.
Oh,
was going to create a big bronze structure, wasn't he?
They will do something with it.
But they also said it will grow back as well.
Yeah, it said it will.
As
from
a
the root,
coppice,
it will grow back, but it'll take another 300 years.
Well,
so.
absolutely. But again, hopefully it can be shown as a.
Yeah, because we often end up talking
nature more.
We often end up talking about things that are natural that are happening, like climate change or the quality of the water and stuff. But that's just something really bad. That's just obviously deliberate.
And yeah, I mean, it was a bad storm at the time as well, wasn't it, when that happened? I mean, obviously
yes,
it was Storm Babbitt recently, but that was the storm, whatever the A was
Before
called.
that, yeah.
I mean, if that had gone down in the night through the storm and had been felled, then of course, would the reaction have been quite the same? It would still be quite,
it was just
emotional.
It was just so blatant. Like it was almost like whoever did it wanted this reaction. Like they wanted to like cut right to the heart of everyone.
But it's not going to be like a proud moment or anything, is it? Something that you ever tell your mates and be like, I'm the guy who did that stuff. Or
yeah, you never know how some people operate.
I know. But likewise, there was some comments on Twitter. There's some real. I mean, those people wanted to be almost like
you shouldn't really read the comments on Twitter.
Corporal punishment back for someone chopping a tree down. I was thinking, well, I'm not sure that's quite the same.
I tend not to read the comments on Twitter anymore. It's or YouTube.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, the levels people jump to at that point. But
sent to prison for life, hang him, lock him up, throw away the key.
It was, or sawing his legs off. Maybe. I mean, obviously not condoning these things, but but yeah, it was a difficult one. It did feel sort of stuff that was, it's strangely sort of emotional for it. Really,
it's just like it hurts. That really hurts.
Yeah, bizarre. So I think
right in the feels.
That was what was in my bag anyway, and what's something that really sort of sparked an emotion in me recently on the news. That sometimes you do get quite numb and conditioned.
Something just goes, ooh, that's.
We're seeing so much bad news these days. Constantly, obviously, I do think sometimes the fact that we hear literally a pin drop at the other side of the world now, and it gets commented upon. We get shown on the news that we can't physically react to every one of those scenarios. And there's stuff going on all the time. I mean, back in the day, like you said, about the 20 years reading in the paper, I mean, a bit longer than that, of course.
Shocking.
We'd be finding out what happened down the road in Penrith now. We wouldn't be finding out any further.
But there is an element
feel very close to home.
There is an element of what's the word? There's so much news. We're saturated. That's the word I was looking for.
We're conditioned, aren't we? And numb.
Where stabbings and murders, and it's like it almost doesn't have the same effect as it would have had 10, 20 years ago. You're like, another one. Where like years ago, it was like you'd hear the odd one, and you're like, can't believe that. But it just happens so much now, and there's just so much news. I don't think we can process it. And now you've got a war going on. You're just like.
It's our monkey brains, I guess, isn't it? At one point we just had to worry about what that tribe was doing over in that woodland. They were going to come and eat us for the night, or what the other tribe was doing. And now all of a sudden we're going
completely the other way.
What's happening 2,000 miles away?
It's like we've gone with the content shorter.
Yeah,
everything's gone shorter, quicker.
Oh, our synapses, our attention spans, and all sorts. And
we're kind of almost being
stay off that TikTok. As we
said before, we're kind of almost being trained to be that way with social media and the platforms. That's the way they're going, so that's the way we're using them, especially younger people. That's all they do. They just
look at the social skills of it.
Like they never read an article. I don't imagine many read. It's just quick, just scroll. You just see people scrolling for ages. You're like, ah.
I was saying this the other day about someone was saying about how we don't allow ourselves to get bored anymore. But I also think that boredom is almost a bit of a first world privilege.
Well, it depends what you mean by bored as well, because...
But do you not think it's a privilege to be bored?
The scrolling thing is wasting time. That's not being bored. Like, there's plenty of other things that a lot of these people could be doing, then they're just addicted to their phone. Like, the content is just... we were talking about the algorithm before. It's what it's designed for, to keep people spending more time on the system, and it works. Unfortunately,
someone may say that they are doing that to avoid boredom. They're doing that to buy the time, to get something else, to feed something else, to get that little dopamine hit, that little fry.
That's what it's all about. But I don't know. I've never wasted time on that and felt good that I'm glad I did that.
No, but that wasn't the point. I don't think. But I think it's the fact that to actually be bored this day and age, is very much is a modernity to a thing. Though I mean, if you look back in the past, you wouldn't have had the point of going, I'm sat here bored.
We were never bored.
Well, you'd have so much to do, wouldn't you? You'd have so much jobs to do to keep the house going, to keep you hot, to keep the food on the go.
But even kids playing outside, playing games.
Yeah, well, even that, I think just remember the convenience that we have of how good we've got it perhaps now. That even being allowed to be bored is actually quite a privilege in itself.
It is. But there is a lot of people doing it when they should be doing other things.
Well, probably me included, to be fair.
It's all designed to catch us all. It's like, it's a mental battle that everyone has to face.
Well, that's it.
Some win, some you lose.
Yeah, remember, we're easy nuts to crack, I guess, aren't we? We think we're the all-knowing humans, but in reality, put some flashy things in our face and we're soon distracted.
So what's in my bag is Newcastle United.
Oh, you've got your bag as well?
Yeah.
Oh, this goes both ways.
Sometimes. I just felt like talking about them because I think they're doing unbelievable.
Well, I like my football, so I'm happy to have this discussion.
Who do you support?
I haven't talked football on a podcast before, but I am a keen... Used to call me Stato back in the day.
And who do you support?
I'm a Hull City fan, actually, randomly. So I should be a Carlisle United fan. I'm very proud Cumbrian, very proud of where I'm from.
Hull City?
My dad does not like football at all.
Okay.
So my uncle took me to games as a kid, and he happened to be a Hull City fan. So I fell in love with the Tigers.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, so I think I've seen the best years from Division 3.
There's always a chance it might come back round.
Hey, we've done all right. So Division 3, my first game against Mansfield Town.
Division 3 loss. That's old time talk.
And we've since been 3 times Premier League, 1 time FA Cup final, and even a spell in Europe. So I've probably seen the best years in the history, really. Like yourself, you may be perhaps about to see your best time in your history.
Well, I still can't get used to the fact that we're winning games. We're just going to games confident. I'm still like, well, as long as we don't get beat. I'm struggling to get rid of that old mentality. It's like when we beat PSG in the Champions League.
Well, that was bonkers, wasn't it?
I'm just like, I can't believe I'm watching this. It's just like pinching myself. But yeah, we're playing tomorrow night. So if you'd have said, can we do this tomorrow night? I'd be like, no.
Yeah, you're Dortmund, aren't you?
Yeah, Dortmund.
Well, just like that, if I was a Carlisle United fan, they're playing tonight, and I probably would have been there. Well, I was actually going to be there, actually, but I got the timing messed up for this one at first. That's when he said 7:30 in the morning, I thought, that's early. Oh, you mean in the evening? All right. I thought it'd be the afternoon. But always loved my football, that sort of way. But I was away during that match. Then I did go and see one of the Barcelona games when I was out there as well. So
right, yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't realise it wasn't in the new camp. I forgot to check the fact that they'd been knocked down. Currently getting rebuilt, so it was in the old Olympic Stadium.
It looks weird. For a while, they took the top of the new camp off, so it was only like a third of the way around, like height.
Well, now it's just the concrete skeleton.
Yeah, now it's gone down. So they have to knock it down so they can build it up again. I don't know why. It held 90,000. I'm trying to work out what else they can do.
Now, I think 100.
Well, that for an extra 10,000.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But you'll be doing the same soon, I'm sure. But it's just where you build it in St James's Park.
Yeah, they've keep buying plots of land around St James's.
We'll try to buy them back, aren't they? Well, actually,
buy them back. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to create like a fan zone.
Yeah.
So where there's like specific meeting places and bars just based around the club. So that's really cool.
No, I was gutted. I didn't watch because I watched a lot of games out there, to be fair. But I was gutted I wasn't in the local bar I'd watched most of the games in, because I thought there was a lot of Newcastle fans in there the first night, and I thought this would have been absolutely off the charts watching that win against PSG.
I mean, if we win tomorrow night, that's like 2 wins and a draw. Yeah. You're halfway there. Oh, well, you've only got to win your home games really, and you're through. So
well, now what looked like the hardest group is now looking like you've got a big chance.
It was called the group of death, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was. But
for who?
Well, absolutely that. I mean, PSG have faltered quite a few times, haven't they? And Dortmund, I guess, have been going through a bit of a changing of the guard, I guess, in the last few years. But
yeah, can we pull the Champions League groups up? So I still just find it difficult to be like, oh yeah, I fancy us for this.
I always had a big soft spot for Newcastle growing up there, and when Sir Bobby was in charge and stuff. I loved them back then.
That was the last time I used to go to games regularly. I think we had Group F.
That was actually my first game, was against Southampton at St James's Park. I went with my mum. Shearer scored a 1-0 win. I saw him play Arsenal a couple of times when I've been up there to see that time. That's when I got on. I think I referenced that on that Mary Berry picture. Actually, said the last time I was on television was Sky Sports, because I walked past the cameras on the way to the Arsenal game.
There we go. Top of the group after 2 games. See what happens tomorrow night. So we're playing Dortmund at home, so Milan and PSG. So best case scenario, we beat Dortmund and Milan and PSG draw.
I think you've got to fancy you to win that one now, though, after the two results you've already got.
It's just in case we win our home games. We've got Dortmund at home tomorrow night, and then we've still got Milan to play at home. I mean, you win those 2, that's 10 points.
I mean, did you see the recent stats of you in the Premier League?
Yeah, we're first of everything. Yeah. Expected goals, shots created in the opponent's half, chances created. Ridiculous. But yeah, some of the groups are...
Yeah, I can't say the same for Hull City, but...
Did you ever get to watch them then?
Yeah, I did quite a few away games last year, actually. I haven't done many away games in the past, but I've actually really enjoyed the atmosphere of the away games. I mean, I've never been a raucous football fan and things. I've always enjoyed watching. I've always enjoyed sort of the ins and outs of it. Again, I used to love my sort of football games as a kid and stuff as well, whether it was manager games or Pro Evolution Soccer was always my one at the time. Little bits on there.
It's got the scores on now. So Man United are playing. Because you're a Man United fan, but you don't really care anymore, do you?
Not really. I suppose it's as good a time as any not to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first met you, you were reasonably into it, but you were
they're all
definitely
doing
on the
that,
way
aren't they?
I
out.
was on decline. Yeah, I stopped playing football. I just fell off the ball completely, as it were.
I think they're like the mammoth Man United fans now, aren't they? They're starting to find the DNA under the ice again now. And they'll recreate them later on in time. But at the moment, they're going, I never really liked football.
Yeah, I might get
when
back
they were
into
winning,
it again.
they're all over
Yeah.
it. But yeah.
So Man United are winning 1-0. Arsenal winning 2-1.
Arsenal need a win, don't they? That
Real Madrid are winning 2-1. What's the betting? Jude Bellingham scored.
He's unbelievable, isn't he?
It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what
unbelievable.
level, where he's playing, just...
I mean, he's got to win
What
a
is it,
Ballon d'Or.
19, 20?
He's looking at this season. I mean, did you see? I think the man of the matches he's got. He's got 7 man of the matches this season already.
played 10 games.
He's just absolutely mustard. I know they often say a player's in like a Rolls Royce, but contractually I have to say they're like a Volvo. But he's just absolutely mustard.
Yeah.
He just looks phenomenal. I mean, again, the sort of shades of Zidane, and you look back to when Birmingham City retired that shirt, and everyone was laughing, going, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
Retired a shirt for
They knew
17-year-olds.
how good he was.
And now you're like, fair play, this guy's going to be
Incredible.
just ahead of him as well. I mean, just such
to be that age and the maturity and just like England, he never looks out of place. Best, well, arguably man of the match.
the composure, the calmness to him, the leadership skills he has as well, where he's pulling other players into his
Yeah.
rank.
You very rarely get that for someone at that age. Just to be that good and just all round. Just
dribbling, the striking, the strength. The
future
the
England captain, definitely.
He's just, you wonder now where he's going to go with his career, isn't he? Because
I know.
that Madrid team as well. I mean, you look at sort of, Tchouameni in there, Camavinga, and you've got up front, obviously, Vinny Jr. and stuff, and Rodrigo. You've got that Endrick they've recently signed now, the 16-year-old from Cruzeiro he's come from.
Yeah.
Who, again, I think after they lost Messi and Neymar from Brazil, sort of Florentino Perez has said, I am not losing any of these starlets from Brazil ever again. So he buys with every single one now at the start. But that squad, I mean, it's what, 24?
Average
age?
yeah.
I mean, Tony Cruz obviously in there bringing it up, but once he goes,
Yeah.
that squad, you can't look past that for the next decade.
Well, it's like what
That
Alan
Madrid
Hampton
side.
said about United. You'll never win anything with kids. Wrong.
But you just cannot look past that Madrid side now, for the next sort of 10
you
years.
pull Fantasy Premier League up. See, you started the Foodie Invitational there on Fantasy Premier League.
I've not checked how it's doing actually. I'm doing okay. My friend's one, but
It might log in on mine here, so we'll be able to see it.
I'm at mid-table at the minute. I think I'm.
Continue without putting it.
No, he's risking it.
I've never been here before. Cookies.
Are you
Doesn't really
sort of
matter.
every week though?
Sign in. It's already put them in. Sign in. See if it works.
Do you update your sign every week, or are you sort of a set and forget type guy?
For this, yeah, I do now. Yeah. There we go. 74 points.
That's a good week.
Where's the where are the leagues?
That's a good week. I think I was only about.
Where's the
50
Fell
odd
Foodie? That one there. 7th.
for the invitation?
How many's in it?
There's me. Keep going. 11. Oh dear. Oh, out the relegation zone.
14. Yeah.
3 go down in this league.
So who are these people? Who are these people?
I don't know too many. Edward Cooper's my old college tutor.
Right.
University of Cumbria, so he's my old media tutor. Tom used to be, was a chap in the year below me at school, and his dad was the history teacher at the school as well. I don't know the others. Cal Thompson's a photographer online, so he's another Newcastle fan. Andrew Crabtree's one of my best mates from school.
There we go.
Sean Pross, I do recognise that name. Apologies, Sean. I do recognise that name from somewhere. Joe Mason's my cousin. Emma WP, she's an Instagrammer, an archaeologist. I think that's it. I'm not sure on the others, I'm afraid. You tend to find you almost know people by Instagram handles a bit better now. When they comment more, you're talking in the messages, the private messages, and you sort of get used to that being the handle. When you meet in the flesh, you're going, you're John 652.
Just knows your handle.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like avatars, isn't it? Maybe that's where we're going. I mean, you see a lot of the YouTubers now, aren't there, that are just known by whether it's the KSIs and stuff. They're just known by their
by
avatars.
3 letters.
Yeah. Whatever your Christian name is now, no one knows that.
Or that drink that they're all drinking, that Prime.
Oh yeah.
I've never actually tried it. Have you? Anyone
I've
tried
not
it?
tried it.
I've not tried
No.
it.
I think
I've got a feeling it's going to taste like horrible. Like it'll be rank, but the kids will just buy it because
I think the craze has died down now. Now you see every shop's got it, and it's all on reduced.
Yeah, you
now.
couldn't get it at first.
No,
There was a big
wasn't it?
craze about it.
Well, those people bloody selling it for like 20 quid, weren't they? Buying the bottles up, or they've got a contract with a wholesaler, so they'll be getting some on the sly and selling it.
There'll be a fell foodie drink before long. There we go.
fell foodie drink.
Yeah.
Never seen that.
You won't.
In fact,
he's writing it down.
He did leave a notepad for me. I should write all these
Yeah,
ideas
go-
down.
Fell
won't
foodie drink.
Fell juice.
Fell
Yeah.
foodie juice.
Diary of an outdoor CEO. Go on there.
You need
That's
to hire a team.
We've got the portable Gosney pizza oven.
Yes.
Haven't we? We've got
Yep.
the grated cheese hair gel. Portable grated cheese pots.
So many ideas, but no energy.
Yeah.
No.
When you want to sprinkle some cheese on your sandwich when you're on the road, then
Whip out a fell
grab out
foodie tub.
fell foodie tub.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
I think that's the perfect way to end.
That's the jingle.
So Harrison, thanks for joining us. It's been awesome.
Thank you for
So
having me,
your
sir.
book, Cookout, Harrison Ward, is out now. I will show it to the camera.
Yes.
So go and get this book now and be inspired.
All the non-football fans have already turned this podcast
Yeah,
off
that's
by
fine.
this point,
That's
so,
fine. I don't care.
hopefully
This
they've
is
already
why
bought
you're
the
here.
book.
This is the main reason you're here.
But thank you. No,
Your handle is pretty much Fell Foodie for everything.
I am, yeah, everything. I go about in the street.
Well
now.
done for getting all them.
We've got
Easy to find.
Any new social media platform suddenly pops up. I won't have it on there just yet, but
No, you'll need to
Maybe
employ,
Pinterest
you'll need
is
to
probably
employ
still
kids
available.
to keep on top of all of that because we can't keep it. It's just moves too fast.
well, so far we've got them nailed down. I'll get the trademark sorted next.
Cool. Well, thanks again. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me back.
No worries.